Chapter 580. Of course, Xiaoya wouldn't tell her that the watch was a limited edition. It was an old model from more than 10 years ago. Mechanical watches wouldn't depreciate. Zhuang Yichen liked it so much that he paid a lot of money for it. If Zhuang Yichen's watch was real, then Qin Fian's watch must be fake. However, Zhuang Yichen and Qin Fian were close friends. Wasn't it embarrassing for Qin Fian to wear a fake watch in public? Your sister works in the fashion industry. Of course, I have sharp eyes and quick senses. I can tell if it's real or fake at a glance. Xia Qian coughed awkwardly. She discreetly lifted the Louis Vuitton handbag to her side and slowly walked towards the parking lot with Xiaoya. However, her fingers were sweating profusely from holding the handbag. Xiaoya didn't notice Xia Qian's small movements. She let go of Xia Qian's arm and walked towards her car. You can drive your lousy car away. I don't want to go the same way as you. Humph. She gave her 200,000 yuan to buy a 20,000 yuan second-hand car. How embarrassing. Xiaoya suddenly remembered that Zhuang Yichen had also given her 5 million yuan to buy a car. In the end, she bought a 200,000 yuan car with an automatic transmission. She finally understood why Zhuang Yichen didn't give her any money after that. Now, she didn't want to give Xia Qian any money either. She was a *king scammer. Not only was she a fool, but she was also a scammer. This time, Xia Qian didn't say anything about sisters sharing weal and woe. Instead, she quickly ran to her second-hand Geely. The remote control car lock had already beeped twice. She inserted the key into the keyhole on the door handle and turned it. Xiaoya chuckled. Are you possessed by a ghost today? Xia Qian quickly said, it's too cold. Let's go back quickly. Yi Er's mother-in-law won't let us visit her. Let's go back quickly. After saying that, she quickly got into the car, threw the LV bag in her hand into the passenger seat like a hot potato, started the car, and immediately fled. Yi Er closed his eyes and muttered softly. He wanted to eat some meat, but his heart was too uncomfortable. Jiang Zhao repeatedly asked the doctor if he could eat some meat, even if it was just meat soup. The doctor looked at the patient who had his eyes closed and said from time to time, I want to eat meat. My heart is repulsive. He did not know whether to laugh or cry. Mayor Jiang, Mrs. Jiang had just woken up, and it is not suitable for her to eat meat. Even if it is meat soup, there are many ingredients in it that cannot be easily absorbed. After all, the patient had been on 4 drips for a long time. It is best for her to drink rice soup first. Then, slowly add some nutritious things. Jiang Zhao felt that the doctor was being unreasonable. Yi Er only wanted to drink some soup. It's not like she really wants to eat meat. That's too unreasonable. Then don't give her thick soup. Stewing some clear soup should be fine, right? Actually, Yi Er wanted to eat meat, but he took the initiative to choose a compromise. Mayor Jiang, I think you also do not want to let Mrs. Jiang take any more risks. We are very sorry about the wrong 4 drips, and we will not shirk our responsibilities. Although Mrs. Jiang has woken up, she is still under observation. No one can guarantee that there will not be any complications. The doctor said again. Jiang Zhao felt that he was being threatened. He was using his wife's life to threaten him. He endured it. Although he was overjoyed, he did not forget to be rational. He had to keep an eye on Yi Er's condition. The doctor had told him that Yi Er was fine. It had not been long, and the 4 drips had already started. But he was not present at that time, and he did not know how long it took. Qin Fian went to the parking lot, sat in his car, picked up the ultra-thin laptop from the passenger seat, turned it on, and imported the photos he took from his phone into the computer. He felt that he was more rational than Jiang Zhao at this time, at least when everything had calmed down. Suddenly, he thought of something and called Jiang Zhao. Brother, the infusion equipment, whether it's the shelf or the tube, can't be moved. Put it in its original position. I think it's better to consider things more carefully. At least let Zhua Hao take it back and compare his fingerprints. I suspect that this matter is not a simple medical accident. It's common for hospitals outside to give the wrong infusion, but this is a private hospital. Every room has a special nurse, and the medicine is almost one-to-one. Sister-in-law is the only one staying in our room, so there's no such thing as taking the wrong medicine. Even if the order is wrong, we still have to say it. But this is not a wrong order, there's no medicine at all. Brother, have you ever thought that this matter might be related to sister-in-law's car accident? Do you think it is related to Yi Er's accident? He had thought of these questions when he came out of the elevator. At this time, he looked at the photos on the laptop and repeated his thoughts to Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao suddenly had an idea. The phone was still by his ear. He asked the deputy director. Where are the bags of 4 drips in the room just now? I just asked someone to clean them up. Who said they could be cleaned up? The deputy director could not tell Jiang Zhao that it was for the sake of cleaning the environment. He could only tell the nurse immediately, hurry up and ask the cleaner not to dump them into the trash can. They should have just left. Jiang Zhao added. Don't mess it up. Wear gloves. The hospital director looked at Jiang Zhao's expression. There were many accidents in the hospital, and it was possible that it was an accident. He became nervous and immediately said to the nurse, hurry up and bring the gloves over. Be careful. Just let Xiao Mian touch it. After listening to the deputy director's instructions, Jiang Zhao was temporarily relieved. He said to the phone again, Fian, give Zhua Hao a call. Tell him the details and ask him to hurry up and deal with this matter. Qin Fian enlarged the photo and said, Brother, you've been in the government for a long time, so you know more cases than me. I'll analyze it for you now. From the photo, the flow of the rollers was turned to the maximum. Normal nurses and caregivers would not do this. Moreover, sister-in-law has been in a coma for a long time. I remember that you've always adjusted her flow to a very low level. The nurses in this hospital are very considerate. At least most of them are very responsible. Even a man like me noticed it. How could they not notice this? Even if they didn't notice it, I'm sure you must have told the nurses and caregivers. Jiang Zhao sat by the bed. He held Yi Er's hand with one hand and gently massaged the needle mark on the back of her hand. He looked up at the deputy director and said, if it's about done here, you can leave first. The deputy director led the doctors and nurses out of the ward. Jiang Zhao heard the sound of the door closing. Fian, your analysis is very correct. I have to tell the nurses almost every day not to turn the flow too high. She hasn't exercised and her blood circulation is slow. The nurses and caregivers who take care of Yunyi all know this. At this point, his handsome brows suddenly furrowed. He asked in a low voice, who do you think has the most enmity with me all these years? Qin Fian turned off the computer and threw it back to the passenger seat. He got out of the car and walked towards the office building. He had to ask about the medicine. This was something his aunt had arranged. As he walked, he said, I'm afraid you have countless enemies. But brother, why are you so sure that it's your enemy and not sister-in-law's? Her. Jiang Zhao laughed self-deprecatingly. It's not that I'm looking down on her. If she had enemies, they would have been dealt with when her father was in prison. Why wait until she has such a big backer like me to come and find trouble with her? Isn't finding trouble with her the same as finding trouble with me? Would anyone be so stupid? But brother, if she has a grudge with you, is there a need to kill sister-in-law time and time again? She could just go and dig up your gray matter and get you out of office. What do you mean? Qin Fian stopped in his tracks. He was a little hesitant. He looked up at the gray winter sky. His beautiful phoenix eyes seemed to see the sun through the fog. He narrowed his eyes and sighed. Brother, don't be angry. I think Sister Yen has always been brooding about your marriage. She won't. Jiang Zhao shook his head. His head really hurt. Fian, contact Zhuhao about this first. I'll go and see your sister-in-law first. If there's anything, I'll call you. Ask your family to send more food over tonight. He felt that no matter what, his appetite would be much better today. Because Yi Er could drink rice soup, as long as she could eat, as long as she wanted to eat, it was a good thing. Qiu Xiaoye drove all the way back to the office. She was in a bad mood on the way to the hospital with Xia Qian. After all, she had gone to see her unconscious friend. When she heard that Yi Er was in the emergency room again, she was also in a bad mood, so she hit her. But when she came out of the hospital, her mood was even worse. Even though Yi Er could eat now, she was still in a bad mood. During this period of time, she had been in a bad mood. Just now, she was clearly in the wrong. She wanted to cause trouble. Even if Jiang Zhao had a conflict with the head nurse, it was not up to her to stand up for him. Her attitude made her look like a shrew. However, the last time she had brought her sister and Yi Er to the nightclub to look for male prostitutes, Zhuang Yichen had come before they could have fun. She also knew that a month after that incident, the news of a few handsome men who used to work at the nightclub had their fingers chopped off came out. One of them had his hamstrings plucked. It was probably done by Zhuang Yichen. This man would not let anyone get hold of him when he did things. He had said that she was not allowed to betray him. Therefore, the male prostitute's leg that she had sat on could not be kept, and his hand could not be kept. At that time, they had clearly broken up, but he still sent someone to follow her. She always knew. This time, it was really annoying. The head nurse actually did not slap her back. She had not seen Zhuang Yichen in a long time. He also did not look for her. She even had a feeling that her every move was under his watch. What if the head nurse slapped her back today? Would he appear? She felt like she had been forgotten by Zhuang Yichen. She felt inexplicably disappointed. In the past, he would also not contact her for half a month. She would never call him. When he needed her, he would contact her and ask her to wait for him at the apartment. But it was different now. They had broken up. If the head nurse slapped her back today, in a few days, would there be news of her being disfigured or having her hamstrings pulled? Xiaoye repeatedly and uncontrollably had such vicious thoughts. Awesome novel, Songshu 566. Chapter 581. Looking at the traffic in front of her, she thought of Jiang Zhao's nervousness and uneasiness for Yi Er every day. Suddenly, she felt that women still had to find a man to marry. Being a pure person wasn't something that could last forever. She didn't know what kind of relationship she had with Zhuang Yichen was. They had never watched a movie together, and the number of times they had eaten together could be counted with one hand. When they were together, other than lying on top of each other and hugging each other to sleep, they didn't have much interaction. Actually, they weren't pure people. They were just bed partners who slept together from time to time. Kang Yin was back. She felt that she could finally have her own love. She was still young and could still burn for the love that she treasured. That dry and empty heart would be nourished and filled. However, Zhuang Yichen was like a ghost that wouldn't go away. You said that he would come to destroy her, but he didn't. You said that he wouldn't destroy her, but he would always appear without any warning. Zhuang Yichen was really ruthless. He knew her too well. In these 4 years, she couldn't see through him, but he could always see through her. After he said those words last time, he directly touched her sore spot. She realized that she really didn't have the face to face Kang Yun. How should she face him? How should she talk about her past? She relied on sleeping with a powerful man for almost 4 years to get to where she was today. She couldn't say it. That kind of inferiority had always been there. Every time she was in front of Kang Yun, she felt inferior. In the past, it was because of the difference in their family background. But now, it was because she was no longer the Xiaoyu of the past. Her thoughts were no longer pure. When did she learn to scheme? Why was she willing to choose the shortcut to success? From the moment Kang Yun left her, it was after Kang Yun left her that gave her a blow. From then on, she told herself that she had to stand high, so high that he could see her no matter where she went. She couldn't escape even if she wanted to. She didn't just want to be a designer, she wanted to be a famous designer. She wanted to be in all kinds of news, all kinds of headlines. She wanted to be in all kinds of magazines that men and women read. Zhuang Yichen had always teased her. She wanted to be famous so badly that even a celebrity's woman was not as utilitarian as her. If she hadn't met Zhuang Yichen, she would have wanted to become famous. No matter what method she used, as long as she could drag Kang Yun out from some corner of the world. Because once he left, he took away her world. She didn't even have a world anymore. What soul, body, and reputation did she want? Therefore, after getting into Zhuang Yichen's bed, she became famous, and her reputation became more and more famous. Qiu Xiaoye was a signboard in the fashion industry, and many companies even invited her to join them and give her an annual salary. Because of Kang Yun, her life had become so bright and beautiful. She was the dream of countless girls in High City who wanted to start their own business. Some people helped her write her autobiography, some invited her to do interviews. She had endless fashion weeks and endless cover shoots. She was a famous designer and also a celebrity designer. But no one knew that all of this was because of Kang Yun, and because of Zhuang Yichen. At that time, Zhuang Yichen had given her 5 million yuan to buy a car, but she bought a car that cost more than 200,000 yuan. After that, in a fit of anger, he didn't give her any more money. But now, she didn't even dare to count the money that he had spent on her. She was afraid that she would be scared silly. In fact, sometimes when she thought about it, she didn't know what she was worth. Maybe Zhuang Yichen was too rich, so he didn't care about spending money for her, and let her enjoy the glory of being the moon surrounded by stars. But she had never cared about the money. Whenever she thought about those things, she would feel empty. She earned a lot of money, but she didn't know how to spend it. She made clothes herself, and she had endless clothes to wear. She would make whatever style she liked. Those international brands always had something that she wasn't satisfied with, so she would make a style that she liked. She saved money again. But Zhuang Yichen was such a cold person, and yet he still praised her. It's not bad. It suits you. Hearing him say that, she felt even more that she couldn't spend the money. The car drove very slowly. When she reached the studio, the employees were already preparing to get off work. She swung the car keys in her hand and walked slowly upstairs in her high heels. The building was on the 4th floor, and the lower floor was the finished products exhibition area. It was decorated in a stylish style, and it was almost 700 square meters. It was divided into several areas, and the clothes were displayed according to their style. The 2nd floor was the guests' fitting area, and it was warm and comfortable. The 3rd floor was the employees' work area, and the designers were very busy. The 4th floor was her office area. It was empty and mainly white, mourning the former Qiu Xiaoye. Although the building wasn't in the city center, it was in the center of the wealthy district in the south. Zhuang Yichen was a rich man, and this building wasn't rented. He bought it, and the owner's name was Qiu Xiaoye. From now on, she would not work in the future, and she would rely on the rent of this building to live a leisurely and decadent life. She remembered that when she heard the news that day, she worked hard to serve Zhuang Yichen in bed for the whole night. She played with all the tricks, and he rode her body with satisfaction. His voice still echoed in her ears. Qiu Xiaoye, you're a demon. You're Qiu Xiaoye. Just as she reached the 4th floor, she pushed the door open and smelled a familiar cigarette smell. This guy. Designers liked a free space, and the office didn't have too many complicated displays. Everything was painted white, and even the floor was filled with white glue. The desk was simple and big, just like the office. She closed the door behind her. The man was sitting in her office, crossing his legs on the desk and swinging his feet. His leather shoes were shiny as new, and his body was lying on the chair lazily. He held a cigarette in one hand and a draft in the other. She didn't know if he really understood it, but he teased, "Yo, you know I'm here, and you still want to come in?" Xiaoye ran her fingers through her hair and changed into slippers that she only wore in a private space. Her feet touched the ground, and her body relaxed. It was so comfortable. It turned out that the glamour was for outsiders to see, and the comfort and warmth were for her to enjoy. "This is my office. If you want to come in, you can come in. What can you do about it?" Zhuang Yichen threw the draft in his hand, and 4 or 5 drafts scattered. Only 2 of them happened to land on the white desk, and the rest fell to the ground. He opened his mouth and smiled brightly. "Isn't it time to get off work? Why didn't you run when you saw me? Or are you always ready with contraceptive pills, waiting for me to come?" Jiang Zhao had been lying beside Yi Er the whole time, listening to her murmuring with her eyes closed. He was afraid that she would be tired, so he dripped some water into her mouth. He even wondered if she would be moved when she woke up and say, "Hubby, I missed you so much, I love you." He had been taking care of her all day and night without rest for a long time. He recalled that dream and sighed. Forget it. What love? He didn't believe that a marriage without love couldn't grow old together. They could help each other in times of need, and treat each other with respect. There were 2 soft knocks on the door. Jiang Zhao wasn't afraid of disturbing Yi Er, and even hoped that she could hear his voice. He shouted, "Who is it?" "Young Master Zhao, I'm here to bring food. Come in." The nanny came with 3 thermos containers, followed by a servant. The servant carried 2 thermos containers in each hand. There were 4 compartments in each thermos container. Apart from the porridge and rice, there were at least 12 dishes. The table was full of dishes. Jiang Zhao was speechless. Wasn't this too much? "Auntie Li, why are there so many dishes?" The old maid also poured out the soup and put it on the table. She felt that the small plates on the table weren't arranged well, and the positions of the meat and vegetables weren't right. She adjusted the plates as she spoke. She couldn't help but smile with a hint of rebuke. "How is there a lot? These days, I only sent 3 dishes for every meal. Today, there are 2 more dishes. Young Master Fian said that you have a good appetite today, so I made some dishes that you like. I estimated that I haven't finished making all the dishes that you like, so I'll make some more tomorrow. You have to eat more. You've lost weight recently." Jiang Zhao sighed. There was nothing he could do. Forget it. Who told him to be so talkative? He had to tell Fian that he wanted more dishes. Grandfather probably couldn't wait to move the table from home. The old maid looked at Jiang Zhao with some guilt. Although Jiang Zhao didn't reprimand her, the way he walked past her without saying a word made her feel worse than if he had reprimanded her. "Young Master Zhao, you eat first. I'll go feed young madam." "No need. I'll do it." Jiang Zhao felt that how could he let the old maid do such a joyous thing? Yi Er woke up and could eat. It was natural for him to enjoy this kind of satisfaction. He had been waiting for her to wake up. The Qin family's servants were very attentive. They brought several spoons, from small to large. The old maid let the other servant go back first. She would tidy up later and return to the Qin residence. Jiang Zhao chose a small one. The rice soup was very thick. He scooped up a spoonful and put it to his mouth. The rice porridge was very fragrant. He blew on it until it was warm before putting it to Yi Er's mouth. He tried to entice her to gently open her mouth. Just as her mouth opened a little, he held the spoon upright and the rice soup flowed into the woman's mouth. Every time he saw Yi Er's throat move, he could hear the sound of her swallowing. After such a long time, there was nothing more blissful than hearing this sound. Jiang Zhao enjoyed this kind of action. After Yi Er finished swallowing, he fed her another spoonful. Seeing how she swallowed so vigorously, he really wanted to turn the entire table of dishes into rice soup for her to drink. She must think that this rice soup is very delicious, right? Until Yi Er lazily opened her eyes and looked at Jiang Zhao. Her eyes were wet and the corners of her mouth twitched from time to time. It was as if she had been greatly wronged. The spoon in Jiang Zhao's hand paused just above Yi Er's lips. He looked at her and his eyes couldn't help but moisten. He held it in and forcefully swallowed his saliva. Then, he fiercely blinked his eyes. After he blinked his eyes dry, it all flowed into his heart. Look at her small appearance. Look at her weak and listless eyes. Look at her trembling lips. Sigh, she must be feeling terrible. The corners of Yi Er's mouth twitched slightly at first. Then, she looked down and stared at the spoon above her mouth. As Jiang Zhao's hand was trembling, a few drops of rice soup dripped down and landed on her lips. She stuck out her tongue and licked it. When she licked it, the tears in her eyes turned into tears. Jiang Zhao saw Yi Er licking the rice soup and quickly regained his senses. He scooped another spoonful of rice soup and coaxed her gently. Yunyi, don't be sad. Don't be sad. I forgot to continue feeding you. Come, drink more if you like. If you don't have enough, I will ask Auntie Li to get more. Yi Er panicked when she heard this. She drank some rice soup and regained her strength. Tears rolled down from the corners of her eyes. She sobbed. Jiang Zhao, you are a mayor. How can you let your wife drink some rice soup? How can you bear to let her drink some rice soup? I have waited for so long and did not even get a piece of meat. What did I do to you? Why are you treating me like this? Woo 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 woo, I want to eat meat. Attention, Songshu 566. Chapter 582. Jiang Zhao was about to feed Yi Er the rice soup when he stopped. He burst into laughter, and the rice soup spilled onto Yi Er's face. Jiang Zhao laughed louder and louder, but Yi Er didn't care at all. She grabbed the blanket and rubbed her face, saying, I want to eat meat, I want to eat meat, I want to eat meat. If I don't eat meat, I won't have the strength to speak. Her voice became softer and softer. Jiang Zhao turned around and saw that his mother was still standing by the table by the window. She didn't dare to come over and just stood there, waiting for him to eat. When Jiang Zhao's mother saw Jiang Zhao turn around and smile at her, she felt relieved and smiled. She thought, young Master Zhao is finally not angry with me, right? At this moment, Jiang Zhao's anger had already been pushed to the side. He said to his mother, Auntie Li, you can go back first. You can come back tomorrow to pack up these things. Also, there's a nurse, so don't worry. How can I do that? You've been too tired recently. Let me stay here and take care of young madam. Auntie Li, you can go back. Jiang Zhao sighed. He was a little displeased. He didn't like to be interfered with. Caring was one thing, but right now, he wanted to be alone with Yi Er. Jiang Zhao's mother saw that Jiang Zhao was about to get angry again. She was afraid that he would get into trouble if she did something wrong, so she pushed the dishes on the table and continued to nag, "Young Master Zhao, hurry up and eat. The dishes will get cold soon. Winter is not as good as summer." Although the room is air-conditioned, Jiang Zhao nodded, I know. After his mother left, Jiang Zhao hurried over and locked the door like a thief. He returned to the bedside and wanted to see if Yi Er could sit up. He put his arm around Yi Er's back and knees. His heart ached. His wife had lost weight. A few days ago, when he hugged her every day, it wasn't as obvious as it was now. Now that she could move, it was different. "Yin Yi, let me help you sit up and eat, okay? Is there meat?" Even though Yi Er was weak, she still didn't forget to ask the question she was concerned about when she was pulled up by Jiang Zhao's neck. After Jiang Zhao put Yi Er down, he put a pillow behind her back. He felt that it was not enough, so he put his own pillow behind her back. When he heard Yi Er relentlessly asking where the meat was, he put his index finger to his mouth and said, "Shoo, keep your voice down. The doctor said that you can't eat meat and can only drink rice soup." Rice soup. Rice soup again. Is this how a person should live? When Yi Er thought of the tasteless liquid that had flowed into her mouth with her eyes closed, she became irritated. At this moment, other than her eyes being a little dim and her spirit being a little weak, when she spoke, it was as if the nearly 20 days of being in a coma had never happened at all. Jiang Zhao couldn't help but feel delighted again. However, he couldn't resist her adorable manner of begging for food. "Lower your voice. How about I make you some meat soup to drink? Just drink a little, okay? Hubby." Yi Er reached out her hand that was still covered with a band-aid and held Jiang Zhao's hand. She begged in a low voice, "Hubby, I'll only eat a small piece of meat. After that, I won't be greedy anymore. If I'm greedy again, you can spank me." The word "hubby" made Jiang Zhao's heart go soft and sour. During this period of time, he had stayed here and heard her call him that many times in his dreams. She called him hubby in all kinds of tones, acting coquettishly to please him, complaining and pitiful, supporting and angry. When the word hubby appeared in his dreams, he felt that she had woken up. Thinking about it, a small piece should be fine, right? It was just a small piece. He made up his mind. A small piece. Okay, just a small piece. But you must drink more water after eating. I'm afraid you can't digest it. Yi Er looked at the room she was staying in and then looked at the clothes she was wearing. I know. Patients can't eat too much meat and greasy food. Her originally dim eyes suddenly lit up. She said greedily, "Is there any red braised pork? I'll just eat a piece of red braised pork." Jiang Zhao was stunned. Red braised pork. She actually said that she wanted to eat red braised pork. How could this be? She clearly said that she couldn't eat too much meat and greasy food. Wasn't red braised pork the most greasy food? There are lean meat, chicken, duck, and fish, but you can't eat red braised pork. Yi Er actually didn't like red braised pork that much in the past. It was just that she hadn't eaten for too long, and her body always craved for some oily meat. When she thought that she could only eat a little meat, she might as well eat a piece of red braised pork. Moreover, she clearly smelled the scent of red braised pork just now. It was the smell of red braised pork that was braised and stewed with dried vegetables. Thinking of the fat in the red braised pork, she bit it in her mouth. It was soft and sticky and melted in her mouth. I don't like to eat other meat. I just like red braised pork. Hubby. This call of hubby was simply fatal. Jiang Zhao was at his wit's end. One of his hands was caught by Yi Er's hands. Her hands were very cold and the back of her hands were bruised because of frequent transfusions. Her other hand pressed against her forehead and rubbed it again and again. She was very conflicted. The doctor said that she couldn't even drink the meat soup, but Yi directly jumped 2 levels. She didn't want the meat soup or lean meat. She wanted red braised pork. He was afraid that Yi would agree to the doctor's words as soon as she ate the meat. He was afraid of the consequences. But if he didn't let Yi eat, he couldn't bear to look at her pitiful face. It was as if she had just been released from prison. When the words, red braised pork, were mentioned, her eyes lit up. Every time she said it, she swallowed her saliva. Not only did she look like someone who had been released from prison, but she also looked like those children he saw when he went to the countryside and the mountainous areas. Their innocent eyes were also like this, shining when they improved their food. Then promise me that you have to eat a piece of meat in small bites. You can't swallow it all at once. Drink some rice soup first before you eat. Jiang Zhao picked up the bowl of rice soup and handed it to Yi. Without a word, Yi snatched the bowl and gulped it down. She raised her wrist and wiped her mouth with her sleeve. I finished it. Drink it with that spoon of yours. I don't know how long it will take before I can eat meat. Jiang Zhao was speechless. He was worried that she would choke if he fed her too quickly. In the end, she picked up the bowl and drank it in a few mouthfuls for the sake of eating meat. At this time, Jiang Zhao was like an old mother. He poured half a bowl of rice soup and picked up a piece of red braised pork from the table. He placed it in the bowl of rice soup and carried it to Yi to sit down. He used his chopsticks to split the soft red braised pork into 2 and stirred it twice. He then split it into 4 and stirred it a few more times. Yi was anxious. She stared at the red braised pork and asked, Honey, what are you doing? Washing the oil. It's too oily. It's not good for you to eat it. Even if he ate meat, he still remembered 3 words, avoid oily food, avoid oily food. Don't pick it up. If you pick it up again, it will turn into foam. How can I eat it? Yi hurriedly stopped Jiang Zhao. The meat was so small that it was not even enough to fill the gaps between her teeth. Jiang Zhao said seriously, pick it up and wash away the oil inside. It will be safer to eat it this way. Although he had promised to help his poor wife secretly, he had to wash away the oil in the meat as much as possible. He did not have to worry about the woman swallowing the meat whole like a wolf. Anyway, he looked at her eyes. She definitely had the potential to do so. Jiang Zhao buried his head in his actions and ignored the woman who had not eaten oily meat for 20 days. Her eyes were green and full of sorrow and pain. She looked at the bowl in his hand. She was unwilling and unbearable to watch the whole piece of meat turn into a bowl of minced pork soup. The small bowl could be described as pocket-sized. It was only half a bowl of rice soup and could be drunk in 1 gulp. Yi looked at Jiang Zhao, who did not let go of any piece of meat that was larger than a grain of rice. She was going crazy. She took a deep breath. Her hair was a little messy, but she could not see, so she did not pay much attention to it. When she leaned forward, she looked like a female bandit who had come down the mountain. She quickly lowered her head and bit the side of the bowl in Jiang Zhao's hand. Her originally weak hand suddenly flew to the side of the bowl and tilted it, pouring all the rice soup and minced meat into her mouth. Jiang Zhao was about to snatch the bowl when Yi's mouth bulged like a toad's. It was swollen and round. Jiang Zhao anxiously put down the bowl and scolded, Yun Yi. Spit it out. He had to make her spit it out. If this bowl of oil went down, it would be over for her. He reached out to pry open her mouth, but Yi stepped back in a panic and swallowed hard. Her eyes were forced to roll back as she swallowed it. It was useless for Jiang Zhao to regret or be angry at this time. He could only blame himself for being soft-hearted and causing such a big mistake. He even said that he would wash the oil off the meat for her, but she drank it all in one gulp without even chewing. He was so angry. Yi widened her eyes and shook her head. It was not bad. The meat soup was better than the rice soup, but she did not seem to have tasted the meat. She tried hard to recall the taste of the meat in her mouth, but she could not remember it no matter how hard she tried. She remembered now. She did not eat the meat at all. Meat had to be slowly ground with the teeth and chewed slowly to get the fragrance out. What was the difference between her eating meat like this and drinking a big mouthful of water and swallowing a few pills in her mouth? Jiang Zhao, give me another piece of meat. She was unhappy. She did not want to call him hubby anymore. This was Yunyi in reality. Yunyi, you have no shame. You ate the whole piece just now. Jiang Zhao felt that he could no longer speak nicely to Yi. When she was not awake, he missed her so much. When she woke up, she drugged him and called him hubby, hubby, so intimately that it melted his heart. He had already indulged her in cheating him of meat, but she still went overboard and did not keep her promise. Now, it was even worse. She still wanted to eat it. If he spoke to her in a pleasant manner again, she would probably eat the whole plate of red braised meat. The corner of Yi's mouth twitched, and she said unhappily, "How is that food?" It was clearly drinking. I did not enjoy the process of eating meat at all. That doesn't count. Give me another piece. You don't have to wash it anymore. You can wash it if you want, but don't split it apart. Just wash the whole piece, okay? Let me chew it. I think my teeth need some exercise. I need some exercise. Pick a big one for me. Yunyi. Jiang Zhao knew that this wife of his had the ability to anger him to death. Even if they had not spoken properly for more than 20 days, she could already make him so angry that smoke was coming out of his 7 orifices in less than 20 minutes. Not only did she want a whole piece, she wanted a big piece. Yunyi, you can only give me rice soup now. If you dare to mention meat again, I will never give you meat in this lifetime. If you don't give me meat, I won't sleep with you. Yi was not full or hungry, but she was craving for meat. She felt that only meat could solve her problem. What did you say? Jiang Zhao had just been fierce, so when he heard this, he could not help but laugh. You won't sleep with me. She smacked her lips. Do you think that's up to you? Don't I still have to sleep with you however I want to? Even if you want to sleep with me now, I can't be bothered to do it with you. Forget it. She only mentioned it slightly, and he already wanted to sleep with her so badly. But with this body, he still had to take care of it. Come and see, Xinwu 799. Chapter 583. Then I cannot be serious. But if you give me meat to eat, I can be serious in bed with you. Yi said unabashedly, don't tell me you're willing to lower the quality of sex for a piece of meat. Jiang Zhao made a hissed sound. This girl had been in a coma for more than 20 days, and her brain was also muddled. What kind of brain did she have to talk about meat with high-quality sex? Sex was also meat. Red braised pork was also meat. Could they really talk about it on the same table? Jiang Zhao had a tall figure. He supported himself with one hand on his waist, tilted his head, and looked down at Yi lazily. Yunyi, is your brain all right? Yi sneered, you really want my brain to be damaged, don't you? Once my brain is damaged, you can dump me and fly around with that Ouyang Yen of yours every day, right? Jiang Zhao laughed out loud. She still remembered. Ouyang Yen meant that her brain was not damaged. There's no meat to eat, but if you don't drink the rice soup seriously, I can only give you a nutrient infusion. You know, in order to maintain the basic functions of the human body, we can't do without water. Are you willing to drink the rice soup like this, or are you willing to have a needle inserted into your vein? Yi Er saw Jiang Zhao laughing so happily when he heard her mention the Ouyang Yen and felt annoyed. She felt that she was not stupid and that her brain was not damaged. Who would be willing to be injected for no reason? Then she looked at the back of her hand and wrist. There were needle marks everywhere, like a hornet's nest. She said angrily, "Drink the rice soup." Jiang Zhao poured a small bowl of rice soup and handed it to Yi Er. Yi Er said coldly, "Jiang Zhao, remember this. If you treat me like this today, I will definitely take revenge on another day. Isn't it just eating a piece of meat from you? Stingy." After saying that, she finished the rice soup and fell down to sleep for a while. She felt a little uncomfortable, so she got up to wash her hair, brush her teeth, and wash her face. Jiang Zhao looked at Yi Er and was a little shocked. It was as if Yi Er had not been hospitalized at all and had not been in the emergency room. She had just caught a cold and came to the hospital to get some medicine. The more Yi Er looked fine, the heavier Jiang Zhao's worries. The deputy director's words at the emergency room door were still ringing in his ears. Could it be the final radiance of the setting sun? This was a problem he had been worried about. Since he went to the bathroom, he sent a message to Qin Fian. Fian. Qin Fian originally suspected that this was not a simple case of taking the wrong medicine. He was discussing with the director about the surveillance footage, but the director refused. This was a high-class private hospital. The patients had absolute privacy. If they gave the surveillance footage to anyone who wanted it, then this high-class private hospital would lose its meaning. Qin Fian saw Jiang Zhao's message and replied, "I want to see the surveillance footage, but the director won't give it to me. I think I'll have to get grandfather to talk to this old man." Jiang Zhao bit his lower lip. Yeah. If this matter is really not that simple, we must get the surveillance footage. If grandfather still wants to act pretentiously, then I will. He would find fault with the hospital and close it down. 20 days later, all the information about the murderer had been cut off on the road by the river. Xiun Wu was also in a terrible fix every day. There was no progress. Was it really related to Ouyang Yen? Ouyang Yen was not that kind of person. He did not believe she would do something like that. Yi Er came out from the bathroom. She saw the untouched dishes on the table. As she dried her hair, she asked Jiang Zhao kindly, "Aren't you going to eat something?" Jiang Zhao put away his phone and prepared to give Yi Er a hug. "You're done. I'll be there in a minute." Yi Er added angrily, "We've really returned to the olden days. The husband can eat lavishly while the wife can't sit at the table. She can only drink rice soup." Jiang Zhao watched as Yi Er returned to the bathroom like nothing had happened. Soon, the sound of the hairdryer whistling could be heard. He sighed, shook his head, and smiled. Unmu dropped the materials in his hands and walked to the balcony of the resting area. He looked down from the balcony outside Xi Empire's CEO office. The night was as dark as the sea, the cars were like beetles, and the people were like ants. Anan stood inside the room, looking at Yunwa's back. Her usually expressionless face couldn't help but crease into a frown. She picked up the materials one by one and put them away. The materials on the floor were all related to the car accident by the river. The clues that were cut in half made Unwu feel helpless. Unwu stood on the balcony, his hands on the glass railing. The wind was even colder at the height of the 39th floor. He looked at his hands. After the second skin transplant, the color had returned to normal. If he did it again, without a closer look, one wouldn't be able to tell that they were once burned. However, he didn't need to look to know that his hands would never be able to draw again. It was not that he couldn't draw anymore, but he couldn't hold a brush for long periods of time. He had tried several times, but the lines were no longer smooth, and he couldn't draw her the way he imagined her to be. It's just a murderer, why is it so hard to find? Could it be a death row criminal? A fugitive on death row? If that was the case, how could Jiang Zhao not be able to find out? It would probably be easier to find out than him, right? Boonwoo turned around, but the glass door wasn't closed. Anan, how's her condition today? Anan buried her head in the documents and pretended not to hear. Anan. Yunya's voice grew louder. He was a quiet, elegant, and beautiful boy, but in his suit and his stern voice, there was a hint of hostility. Because of the wrong injection of medicine today, Anan's voice became softer and softer. It was so soft that if the office hadn't been so quiet at this time, he wouldn't have been able to hear it clearly. Boonwoo strode back into the room. He slowly clenched his fists, and the veins on his fair skin could be seen. Why are you only telling me now? She's already recovered. She's fine. And then raised her head unhappily and stood up. There was a hint of stubbornness in her cold eyes. Have you had enough? She has someone to take care of her. She has a husband. Whether she's dead or alive, someone will take care of her. You don't have to care. Anan, what kind of attitude is this? Faced with Yunwa's questioning, Anan suddenly became agitated. You're my brother. You're my brother. I'm not your servant. I'm your sister. You can't talk to me with such an attitude. You should respect me. You shouldn't ask me to help you investigate her. I hate her. Boonwoo was still clenching his fists. When he lowered his head, he took a deep breath. When he looked up again, he was already relaxed and warm. He bent down slightly, grabbed An's shoulders with both hands, and looked into her eyes. He said gently, Anan, I'm sorry. I thought that we grew up together and could share everything with you, so I didn't do this on purpose. I didn't think that asking you to investigate Yi for me would mean that I didn't respect you. If that's what you think, I apologize. I won't ask you to interfere in my affairs in the future. I'm sorry, okay? Don't be angry. Brother will take you out to eat your favorite food tonight, okay? You're lying. Anan pushed Boonwoo away. Her voice was very loud, and her eyes were wide open as if she was trying her best to suppress some kind of emotion. You don't know how to share with me at all. You went to Wudong Street for so long, but you never told me that you were waiting for her. You never shared your worries with me. When you did, I wasn't the first to know. Besides, you only shared with me because you had no other choice. You could only tell me and ask me to cooperate with you. You didn't treat me as your sister at all. You didn't. Boonwoo raised his hands from Anan's push. To prevent her from getting agitated again, he stopped his hands in mid-air and did not touch her again. Hearing Anan's continuous complaints, he reached out to cover his face and rubbed it. Anan was actually right. If it wasn't for the fact that he couldn't hide this matter anymore, he wouldn't have told anyone. It was precisely because he was overly cautious that he had brushed shoulders with Yi. He needed to meet her and get close to her, so he could only pull Anan to his side to put on an act. Anan was forced to participate in this act, and only now did she vent her dissatisfaction with him. Moreover, after so many years, this was the first time Anan dared to speak to him like this. Boonwoo said, Anan, you've always been my sister. I've always treated you as my sister. I'll always treat you as my sister. You can't let your thoughts run wild. In the future, don't say that I don't treat you as my sister. Anan was stunned and suddenly fell silent. You don't like Yi. You hate her, but don't say it in front of me. You clearly know that I like her very much. You're my sister. Even if you don't want to stand on the same path as me, don't go against me, okay? Seeing that Nan didn't react at all, Eunwoo said, "Nan, I'll go to the hospital to have a look. Don't worry about her matters. I'm very sorry for making you so upset." Eunwoo was always like this. He was polite to the point of alienation, and gentle to the point of strangers. Nan watched as Eunwoo took off his suit and placed it on his chair. Then, she walked to the hanger, took off her light gray woolen coat and scarf, and left the room. After she hung up Eunwoo's suit again, Nan went to the balcony where Eunwoo had been standing earlier. When Eunwoo walked out of the office, people greeted him. He responded with a smile. His smile was healing and made people feel warm. Some people in the company said that if they saw the little CEO smile more often, they would live a few more years. Not only was it pleasing to the eye, it also made people feel comfortable. Eunwoo's smile was maintained until he pressed the button for the CEO's private elevator. He walked in and the elevator door closed. His face suddenly darkened when he thought about what Nan said. Yi-er had been sent to the emergency room again today. Although she was out of danger, he was still worried because of An's attitude. No matter what, he had to go and take a look. The elevator went straight to the underground parking lot. Eunwoo looked relatively thin and weak. Naturally, people would think of him as weak. His legs were very long, but when he walked, he was fast and steady, showing a kind of masculine strength. He held the remote control key in his hand and pressed the unlock button. The car not far away mechanically honked twice. The car lights flashed a few times. He opened the door and got in. The temperature in the underground parking lot was not low. There was no need to warm it up. The car started quickly and the speed was even faster. Jiang Zhao ate. He had not had such a good appetite in a long time. When he heard the sound of the hairdryer from the bathroom, his appetite was even better. She actually did not want him to help her. She said that she could do it herself since it was just drying her hair. During this meal, even the vegetables and tofu tasted like bird's tripe. He sighed and said, "It tastes so good." It would have been better if he did not say this, or if he said it quietly. However, these words were heard by Yi-er, who had just turned off the hairdryer. The anger in her heart quickly spread to her face. She was really miserable as a wife. She rubbed her hair and it was very soft. She walked out of the bathroom and stood at the 2-meter-long entrance. She could see Jiang Zhao eating heartily. She thought to herself that she should work harder. What did it matter if she ate or not? When she was discharged from the hospital, she could go home and cook. Couldn't she live without eating his food? She got out of bed angrily, covered her head with the blanket and fell asleep. Why was she so calculated with him? He had always been at odds with her. He could do whatever he wanted. Anyway, he did not care about her, and she did not care about him. It was no big deal. Eunwoo knocked twice on the door. He was a little worried that Yi-er had just gotten out of danger. She needed to rest. Welfare, Songshu 566. Chapter 584. Jiang Zhao thought it was a nurse who knocked on the door gently and politely. Since he was not afraid of being seen by the doctor, he put down his chopsticks and walked over to open the door. His expression immediately changed. "What are you doing here?" Eunwoo no longer had his quiet and scholarly temperament. Instead, he looked domineering. "Jiang Zhao, what am I doing here? I want to ask you, what are you doing here all day? Aren't you the one taking care of Yi-er? Do you always have to take care of her until something happens to her before you feel that you're important?" Jiang Zhao was actually in a good mood that night. Because of Yi-er's actions when she woke up, he often neglected the fact that she was in the emergency room today. However, Eunwoo's words always touched his bottom line. No matter what, Yoon Hongwei, his parents, Si Jia, and even Yi Er's friends could say that he was in the wrong. However, Xianwu could not do that. He was not Yi Er's family, nor was he Yi Er's friend. He was Yi Er's suitor. He was his love rival. This was a bomb that was buried beside him. Min Zikai was nothing. Min Zikai was not as bold as Xianwu. Xianwu dared to stand in front of him and threaten him. Moreover, Xianwu knew that something happened to Yi Er today. This meant that Xianwu's men were around. Jiang Zhao felt that it would be too funny if he fought with Xianwu every time they met. Therefore, he still had to act like a gentleman. If Xianwu wanted to question him angrily, he could only respond calmly. Unwu, I think you really have nothing to do. If you think you can't find a wife, you can try going on blind dates. You don't have to think about someone else's household register all day long. After all, you're a rich man's son. It's not good for such a tasteless thing to spread. Unwu sneered. Is that so? A rich man's son who can't even protect his wife. If word gets out, won't it be even tasteless? Even worse. Yi Er heard the argument at the door and immediately perked up. He shouted, Unwu, is that you? Jiang Zhao and Unwu were both shocked. Jiang Zhao was angry and shocked, while Unwu, Jiang Zhao wanted to turn around and grab him, but it was too late. Unwu looked at Yi Er, who was sitting on the bed and smiling at him. He felt relieved. Are you feeling better? Yes, I'm much better. Unwu, why didn't you come in just now? Unwu smiled faintly. He turned to look at Jiang Zhao, whose face was already ashen. He smiled happily. Brother Zhao was chatting with me just now. I forgot. Unwu, are you here to visit me? Yi Er looked at Unwu. When she smiled, it was just like the countless mornings, afternoons, and evenings she had spent on Wudong Street. Yunwu's heart warmed. He smiled gently and his voice was gentle and loving. He really wanted to reach out and caress her face, but he didn't. Of course. If I'm not here to visit you, why would I come here? When Yi Er looked at Unwu and smiled like that, Jiang Zhao's heart couldn't help but tighten. She had promised him before that she wouldn't interact with Xianwu. How could she look at Xianwu and smile like that? He walked over and held Yi Er's shoulders. Yi Er, you need to rest. I don't want to rest. I can't sleep. Yi Er pushed Jiang Zhao away and looked at Unwu. Unwu, you came to visit me. Did you bring anything delicious? Unwu was slightly embarrassed. Yes, he came to visit her, but he had forgotten the most basic etiquette. Yi Er, what do you want? I'll prepare it for you right away. I just want to eat some meat. Yi Er nodded. She felt that there was nothing wrong with saying that. Unwu turned around and looked at the dozens of plates on the table. There were meat and vegetables. Could it be? He turned back and looked at Jiang Zhao, who was fuming. Yi Er glanced at Jiang Zhao and said to Unwu, don't look at him. He won't give me anything to eat. He eats alone and only gives me some rice soup. He abuses me. You didn't even bring anything for me to eat when you came to visit me. Yi. That's enough. Jiang Zhao didn't expect Yi Er to speak so rudely to an outsider the moment she woke up. She kept criticizing him. Yi Er wasn't like this in the past. If it wasn't for the fact that she still remembered Ouyang Yen and knew Xianwu, he would have suspected that she had become stupid from sleeping for the past 20 days. What's wrong? You won't let me eat, but you won't let anyone else eat. Yi Er felt that she was being a little unreasonable. She tasted a little and it was especially fragrant. However, she wasn't allowed to continue eating. She felt terrible. Seeing Jiang Zhao eat such a large table of food made her feel even worse. Her heart felt like it was being scratched by a cat. Unwoo knew that Jiang Zhao cared about Yi Er and wouldn't refuse to let her eat. It was probably the doctor's instructions. However, he wouldn't defend Jiang Zhao in front of Yi Er. He smiled and said, "Yi Er, you can't eat today. It's not suitable for a patient who has just recovered to eat too much. You've already eaten some today. If you eat more, your digestive system will be damaged. I'll bring you some meat tomorrow, okay?" Unwoo felt like he was coaxing a child. When Yi Er asked him for meat, she sounded like a child. "Unwoo, I don't think you're the type to lie. We've known each other for so long and are friends. Don't lie to me." "Got it." Jiang Zhao was not only depressed but also hurt internally. Yi Er had just woken up, so he couldn't spank her. Otherwise, he would definitely pick her up and beat her up. She actually dared to treat his love rival like an outsider. "Yun Yi, if you don't sleep now, I won't let you eat any meat tomorrow. Do you believe me?" Yi Er consciously collapsed, pulled the blanket over herself, and went to sleep. She didn't rub it. Unwoo was in a good mood. "Yi Er, I'll come and see you tomorrow." "Okay, don't forget to bring meat," Yi Er added generously. She raised her head slightly and gave Unwoo a grateful smile. She didn't believe that he couldn't eat meat if he wanted to. Was Jiang Zhao really a tyrant? She didn't seem like someone who would have problems at all. Jiang Zhao had been pranking her all this while. He actually wants to suffocate her to death. He will be happy if his wife is dead. Forget it. She will not be calculative with him. She doesn't care what he wants to do. But if he wants to torture her, no way. But Jiang Zhao was the mayor, and her father's matter was not settled yet. Yi Er suddenly remembered something and sat up. Oh my God. Why was she so silly? She still needs to rely on Jiang Zhao to settle her father's matter. How can she talk back to him over some meat? Did she want to die? When Yi Er heard Jiang Zhao slamming the door and locking it, she shivered. Oh no, Jiang Zhao was angry. It must be because she had badmouthed him in front of Unwoo. Will the consequences be serious? Yi Er saw Jiang Zhao walking over with a black face. She immediately gave a flattering smile. Hubby, are you full? Do you still want to eat more? I'm not full. I'm full because of you. He was really full because of her. Hubby, I'm sorry. I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't know what to do because of the meat. I apologize to you. Yi Er looked at Jiang Zhao sincerely. It's late. Let's sleep. Jiang Zhao couldn't stand the smell of food in the house. You sleep first. Dong Xiaobing walked to the table and put the dishes back into the thermos. He covered the thermos and opened the windows. The night lights outside were dim because of the fog. The night light without a needle was like a hairy moon hanging in the sky. The nurse came over with the medicine, and Jiang Zhao poured a glass of water for Yi Er to take the medicine. Jiang Zhao was in a bad mood, so he kept a straight face and didn't say anything. Yi Er didn't dare to touch the tiger's whiskers anymore. She took whatever medicine Jiang Zhao told her to take. Then, he gulped down a mouthful of water and swallowed hard. Some small pills stuck to the walls of his throat and he couldn't swallow them down. In the end, he couldn't help but vomit. He vomited everything in his stomach, including the rice soup and minced meat that he had eaten. Jiang Zhao panicked. He didn't have time to ask what happened and immediately ran out to call the nurse. When the nurse saw what Yi Er had vomited, her face changed. She didn't care if Jiang Zhao was the mayor or not. After all, this Mrs. Jiang had scared everyone in the hospital. Mayor Jiang, how can you give Mrs. Jiang meat? Yi Er was shocked. Was it because she ate meat and vomited? This time, she didn't even have any water in her stomach. She looked at Jiang Zhao pitifully. Jiang Zhao couldn't bear to scold her, and he took all the blame from the nurse. The nurse was also proud of herself. She didn't expect to find such an opportunity to scold the mayor. Although private hospitals provided better services and were more people-oriented, the nurse had been serving the rich for a long time, and she suddenly got the chance to order the rich around. She was still in high spirits even after she left the ward to prepare the medicine for Yi Er. This time, Yi Er didn't dare to ask for more meat. Jiang Zhao reheated the remaining rice soup in the microwave. When it was not too hot, he took it out. Yi Er finished the gigai. Half an hour later, she took the medicine again. She didn't want the medicine to stick to her throat and drank it in 3 portions. Jiang Zhao felt that something was wrong with Yi Er. He couldn't tell what was wrong. Her personality seemed to have changed. She had lost her memory when she was in the car. But that was not the case. She knew everyone and remembered everyone. She didn't wake up and asked him who he was. Her actions and tone were similar to before. But her IQ seemed to have changed. Was she stupid? Unlike in the past, she would think of everything she said and did. Although there were times when she embarrassed herself, she was still young and normal. But now, she didn't think of anything she said and did whatever she wanted. She was not stupid. She knew that she had made Feng Yu unhappy and would try to please him like before. Even if she did something wrong, she would use her actions to show that she was wrong and stop talking back. This proved that she was not stupid. Could it be that she had slept for more than 20 days and did not use her brain? That's why her cerebellum was temporarily tired? Feng Yu could accept it if she was tired. But he couldn't accept her being so close to Shi Yunwu. Beauty novel, Songshu 566. Chapter 585. Jiang Zhao was still thinking about this even after he fell asleep. He wondered if he should give Yi Er an X-ray or something like that until Yi Er sneaked onto the bed beside him and hugged him. Damn it! He was afraid of touching her, so he slept on the bed beside her. In the end, she wasn't afraid at all. She even hugged him. The bed is small, and the two of us take up too much space. We can't sleep well. You can sleep over there. She was a patient, so his voice should be as gentle as possible. No, I want to sleep like this. Yi Er stubbornly believed that a husband and wife should not sleep in separate beds. However, Yi Er's medicine contained some sedative Western medicine, so it was especially easy for her to get sleepy. Once she fell asleep, it was as though she was dead. The next morning, Jiang Zhao still had to put up a sturdy little tent around his crotch. Yi Er woke up and mumbled, "Hey, why didn't you give me a morning kiss today? Did you forget? Don't you have to go to work?" Jiang Zhao sighed. "I'm still asleep, aren't I?" But it wasn't a solution if he couldn't remember. If he continued to sleep like this, there would be problems. Perhaps it was because they hadn't had sex for more than 20 days, so the little tent made Jiang Zhao feel very awkward. After kissing Yi Er, he turned around and got off the bed. His back was still facing Yi Er. When he reached the end of the bed, he even walked sideways into the bathroom like a crab. He immediately locked the door and took a cold shower. Jiang Zhao was a calculative person. Ever since he was born, the word calculative had never disappeared from his life. In the past, when Yi Er wasn't awake, he had to go to work. Now that Yi Er was awake, he was even more in the mood to work. However, Shi Yunwa's appearance yesterday put him on guard. Yi Er's personality was a little strange now. She wasn't as easy to deal with as before. Even if she was easy to deal with, he didn't dare to casually force her. He also didn't dare to bite her until she had a high fever and was hospitalized like last time. He couldn't do it the hard way, but he couldn't bring himself to do it the soft way. What if Shi Eunwoo really seduced her with meat today? He suspected that her IQ had returned to that of a 2- or 3-year-old. At least, that was what he thought yesterday. After Jiang Zhao finished showering, he asked Yi Er to wash her face and brush her teeth while he waited for the servants to deliver breakfast. Today, he wanted to eat with her. While Yi Er was in the bathroom, Jiang Zhao went to look for the caregivers and nurses. He told them that they had to take good care of his wife today. He reminded his wife not to eat meat and that it would be best to make the consequences sound serious. Even so, Jiang Zhao was still worried. Ching Su woke up before Yi Er. Because her lungs were seriously injured, she couldn't get out of bed and run around like Yi Er. When Jiang Zhao appeared in Ching Su's room, Min Hongxing had just left. Ching Su was sitting on the bed with her back against the headboard pillow. She was playing Plants vs. Zombies on her iPad. Jiang Zhao sat down beside Ching Su's bed. Ching Su, are you feeling better? Ching Su logged out of the game. Her face still had some baby fat, but when she smiled, the 2 beautiful dimples on her cheeks looked very sweet. She nodded. I'm much better. Where's older sister Yi Er? Jiang Zhao knew that Ching Su was very different from Min Zikai. At least, Ching Su was innocent. Even if she wasn't, the fact that she dared to chase after the criminals for Yi Er's sake showed that she had a good relationship with Yi Er. Handing this mission to Ching Su should be able to succeed. She's much better now. She can get out of bed now. I'll ask her to come and play with you later, okay? Really? That's great. I was just thinking that it was boring to sleep in the hospital every day. But you guys better not eat meat secretly. Last night, my heart softened and I gave her a piece. She vomited until she was a mess. I can take supplements now. It shouldn't be a problem to eat some meat, right? Jiang Zhao also knew that it was not right to lie to a 17-year-old girl like this, but his wife's sovereignty was a big issue. Other moral principles could be set aside. If he had nothing to do and stayed here every day, it would be fine, but he still had to feed his family, right? She'll probably be able to eat tonight. Wait until I get off work. She just vomited yesterday, so I don't dare to take the risk. Ching Su's attitude towards Jiang Zhao was completely different from her attitude towards family Min. If Min Zikai saw this, he would probably vomit blood in anger. That's true. It seems that her stomach is quite weak. It's okay. Ask her to come and find me, or I can go and find her. I'll ask her to come and find you. Your lungs haven't fully recovered yet. If you move around too much, it'll be troublesome. After she has breakfast, I'll ask her to come over. Jiang Zhao continued to be shameless. After careful consideration, he felt that it was useless to just remind her. It was better to let Yi Er play with Ching Su all the time. Even if Shi Eunwoo came, he would not be able to find Yi Er. Naturally, he would ask the nurse to bring Ching Su's medicine and change the bedding. Oh right, he also reminded the nurse not to reveal Yi Er's whereabouts to the public. With someone accompanying her, Ching Su was naturally happy. She nodded happily. Okay. The moment Jiang Zhao stepped out of Ching Su's ward, he immediately put away his humble and friendly expression and smirked evilly. When he entered Yi Er's ward, his mother was already setting up breakfast. Yi Er was sitting at the table, waiting to eat porridge. Jiang Zhao walked over and sat down at the table to the left of Yi Er. He took the chopsticks from his mother and said, "Thank you, Auntie Li." His mother smiled and said, "What are you thanking me for? You guys eat first. I'll clean up later." With that, she walked out of the room. Yi Er picked up a piece of dried radish for Jiang Zhao. "Luo, this is your favorite. Have you finished all the dried radish at home?" If you have, I'll ask the kitchen to get some more when we go back to Grandpa's house. Also, I haven't eaten breakfast at home for a while. Jiang Zhao, am I seriously ill? I asked just now and found out that I've been asleep for more than 20 days. Dad and Si Jia must be worried, right? Jiang Zhao tightened his grip on his chopsticks. He was unhappy, but he also found it ridiculous that he would be jealous of his father-in-law and Si Jia. It was only human nature. He had been worried that his father-in-law would not be able to take the agitation due to his old age, so he did not allow him to come over to keep watch at night. Moreover, his father-in-law had been hospitalized because of a myocardial infarction. If he were to collapse, this family would not have peace. Because of this, he had even applied for leave from Si Jia's school and asked the driver to send Si Jia home every day. She knew that her father-in-law and Si Jia would be worried, but did she not know that he would be worried? She felt a little stifled. She was thinking about the bigger picture and did not want to argue. Dad and the others are fine. You're not seriously ill either. You're fine now, but... Yi Er asked, but what? Jiang Zhao said, you were in a car accident. Do you still remember what happened? Yi Er lowered her head. Yeah, I went to buy crabs and was taken away. After that, a lot of things happened. It was a little chaotic. It was so chaotic that she did not want to piece it together. Yi Er instinctively rejected the thought of remembering what happened back then. Every time she recalled it, it would feel like she was experiencing it all again. She knew that she had died once, so after she woke up, she was especially concerned about the feeling of being alive. Since she was alive, she did not want to think about the past that made her feel worse than death. For example, the blood that covered her face, the disappointment and despair that attacked her again and again. She knew that she had been kidnapped, but she refused to think about what happened after she got into the car. She even wanted to get rid of all these memories. Getting rid of the things that made her sad and painful was the meaning of being alive. Jiang Zhao saw that Yi Er's eyes were dark and gloomy. She had a lot on her mind. Should he not mention it? If he did not mention it, how could he let her go to Qing Su's place? He gritted his teeth and felt that he was being too cruel. Yi Er, if it wasn't for Qing Su blocking the car of the person who kidnapped you and even ramming her car into it, you wouldn't have been in a coma for 20 days. Lulu. Yi Er was stunned. The person who had chased after her car that day was not Min Zikai, but Qing Su. It was actually Qing Su. She did not want to think about it at first, but there was someone who told her that one should not be ungrateful. After that, her memories started to come back to her. Qing Su, the fiery red cayenne, and the fresh green willow branches appeared in her mind. After that, her memories started to piece together. As she pieced them together, her shoulders started to tremble. Her whole body was shaking, and her tears fell like rain. Her voice was weak and broken. I know. If it wasn't for Lulu, I would have been chopped into minced meat and fed to the fish. She was terrified. At that time, she was terrified. Even now, when she thought about it, she still could not escape that feeling. There were some things that made one's legs weak when they were experiencing it, but after experiencing it, one's spirit would be shattered. Jiang Zhao suddenly regretted it. He wished that she was still a little silly like yesterday. Chopped into minced meat and fed to the fish. Would she be threatened and frightened like this? To think that he did not think that there was any change in her after she woke up. Just one sentence from him was enough to agitate her to this extent. He quickly put down the chopsticks in his hand and moved the stool over to sit beside Yi Er. Jiang Zhao stretched out his arm and hugged Yi Er's shaky shoulders. Yunyi, don't cry. Everything is fine now. Everything is fine. Where's Lulu? Yi Er felt even more upset. She thought to herself that since she woke up yesterday, she had been so heartless that she did not ask about the person who saved her because she refused to remember anything. She was already so seriously injured and had been in a coma for 20 days. Then what about Qingsu? Was it even more serious? Jiang Zhao listened to Yi sniffling non-stop and thought to himself that he should take the day off so that she would not be agitated. However, Yi continued to ask, I know that there was a car that kept chasing after the car that kidnapped me that day, but I didn't know it was her. I thought it was Min Zikai. My car crashed really hard and I even hit my head against the car that kidnapped me a few times. I know everything. I can feel it. Yi covered her face. Tears flowed out between her fingers and her sobs sounded a little suppressed. She's fine. Jiang Zhao said against his will. He hugged Yi even tighter. Should he get her a psychiatrist? The difference in her mood from yesterday was too great. It was so great that he couldn't recover from the fact that she had used all sorts of methods to get him to eat meat yesterday. Ah, Zhao. Yi reached out to cover her face and hugged Jiang Zhao. She sank into his embrace. Don't lie to me. When I was in the car, I heard that man curse a few times. F***ck, do you want to die? There's no way she'll get better. Ah, Zhao, tell me. Yi started to suspect that there was something she didn't want to recall. Ah, Zhao. It sounded so natural to call her that. It sounded so heartfelt. Hadn't she been using him all this time? Hadn't she been trying to please him against her will? Songshu 566. Chapter 586. Jiang Zhao hesitated again and again. If he didn't tell her, she would definitely be upset. Qingsu was an optimistic girl, as though nothing was a big deal to her. If Yi saw Qingsu's current state, she would definitely feel less guilty. She's staying next door. She woke up before you. Yi looked up at Jiang Zhao. Really? Then I'll go and see her. I don't know if she'll blame me for not visiting her until now. She won't blame you. You just woke up too. Jiang Zhao rubbed Yi's little face. The more he rubbed it, the softer his heart felt, just like her face. Okay, I'll tell the nurse later to inject your medicine. You can play with Qingsu until I get off work. She's bored too, so I went over to see her playing Plants vs. Zombies. I'll bring 2 computers over later, and you can play games together. Sure. Since I can't be discharged, it's good to have company. Lulu and I have quite a lot of fun. Jiang Zhao sighed. After the 2 of them finished eating, Jiang Zhao arranged for Yi to be sent to the room next door. He even told the nurses not to reveal his wife's whereabouts to the public. Qingsu was indeed a very optimistic girl. When Yi asked her how she was, she laughed and said, Haha, what do you mean by how I'm doing? I'm already fine. Didn't I just hit my chest on the steering wheel and a rib pierced my lung? It's already been pulled out. I think I'll be able to be discharged in a few days. When Yi heard this, she was so agitated that her face turned pale. What? A rib pierced her lung. How weak was the lung? She actually laughed and said, Lulu. Yi sat on the bed with the bedding changed. Her computer was placed on the table beside the bed. She had just turned it on when the music started playing. However, her voice was not as smooth as the background music of the computer, and it was trembling. Lulu, you actually suffered such a serious injury. Yi could not continue playing the game. She was only unconscious and scared, but Qingsu's ribs were broken and her lungs were injured. Jiang Zhao lied to her that Qingsu was fine, and Qingsu herself said she was fine. When Qingsu saw Yi biting her lip and about to cry, she spat in her heart. Didn't Zhang Zhao tell Yi? Did she say too much? Good heavens. Yun Yi. How did you become like this? You're always crying. I can't stand you. Did you become a resentful woman after you got married? Is that why you pee all the time? What horse pee? Yi was still feeling sad when he realized that the person he was sad about was looking down on him. Horse pee. She was shedding tears. Qing Su was a girl who had been swindling and cheating with her mother since she was young. Although she had stayed in the Min family for a few years, she still spoke some rascally words. Yi was stunned. She wanted to laugh out loud, but she was afraid that it would hurt her lungs, so she could only chuckle. Don't you know that if you cry too much, it will become urine? And it's horse pee. It's really big. Do you know about horses? It's really big. Yi was touched, sad, upset, and guilty. All of her negative emotions were suppressed after Qing Su said that her tears were horse pee. She could not cry in front of Zhang Zhao anymore. If she cried too much, it would be pee. Qing Su sat on her bed. Just like Yi, the computer that Zhang Zhao brought over was placed on the table in front of her. She raised her head and glanced at Yi's computer. Come on, let's play 2 rounds. Let's play. LOL is a game from Tencent, League of Legends LOL. Ouyang Yan was sitting in Zhang Zhao's office. Zhang Zhao was handling official business. Ouyang Yan was sitting on the sofa in the reception area, quietly reading the newspaper. She seemed to be very patient. But from time to time, she would raise her wrist to look at her watch, revealing her mood. Zhang Zhao approved the documents and pressed the secretary line once. Lu Qing, come in. Get someone to send the documents to the 7th floor. He hung up the phone and opened another file. It was as if Ouyang Yan was not even sitting in the office. Ouyang Yan did not mind, but she would occasionally knock on the coffee cup to make a little noise. She wanted to attract Zhang Zhao's attention, but she did not want him to think that she was the one who spoke first. Zhang Zhao lowered his head. His eyes moved quickly through the opened file. He spun the pen in his hand quickly, swapping the position of the tip of the pen and the end of the pen. The end of the pen stopped at the key point in his eyes. He tapped it again and again, as if he was thinking about something. Ouyang Yan could not help but sigh. Zhang Zhao's voice was heard. Yun Yun, don't you have to go to work today? Ouyang Yan was delighted. She looked up and saw that Zhang Zhao was still buried in the file. She bit her lip, stood up, and sat opposite him. After all, he was the one who spoke first. It would be better to find a suitable position to talk. I applied for leave. Applied for leave. The Shin Hospital is very open-minded. You allow people to apply for leave so easily. Zhang Zhao asked 2 questions, but he did not raise his head to look at Ouyang Yan. Ouyang Yan had always been dressed plainly. Because of her good condition, she was like a lotus from clear water, a natural carving. There was no need for her to chase after fashion. It was precisely because her beauty was natural and refined that her expression and actions had always been like that of a fairy. It was even more so in front of Zhang Zhao. She wanted to be angry, but she forcefully suppressed her anger. I want to talk to you about something. Go ahead. Zhang Zhao said lightly. Do you hate me here? Ouyang Yan exhaled and said this gently. Zhang Zhao looked up and smiled. You actually came here to talk to me about this. The next time I see your Dean Shin, I have to have a good talk with him about the attendance of civil servants. This won't do. He can't mess around with the party building. Last time, he wanted to find trouble with me. Looks like I can take revenge. Ouyang Yan was a little angry at the beginning, but now she was furious. Jiang Zhao clearly knew that Shinkai had pursued her in university. Now, he actually mentioned this person without any ill feelings. She had always been arrogant. She bit her lips and did not voice out her dissatisfaction. At least, she felt that now was not the time. I'm here to talk to you about Yun Hongwei. I think you should do something about it. Jiang Zhao put down his pen, leaned back, and smiled. Because several of Yun Hongwei's cases are related to your family Ouyang, right? During the tsunami, almost all of the pineapples were bought out and later sold to a mahogany furniture manufacturer at a high price. But the loan was approved by your uncle. Also, Yun Hongwei's case in 2003 was obviously going to blow up, but it was suppressed by the provincial TV station head through his connections. And for the station head to be promoted, your father contributed a lot. Jiang Zhao. You actually know about it. Ouyang Yan's face changed. You know about it, but you only care about me now. Beauty novel, Songshu 566. Chapter 587. Pretentious. Jiang Zhao smiled. Yun, since the Ouyang family is also involved in this matter, why do I have to take care of it alone? Ouyang Yan was stunned. What do you mean? Are you saying that you don't want to take care of it? It's better to deal with this matter impartially. In my position, I can't bend the law for personal gain even if it's my father, let alone my father-in-law, right? We both graduated from law school. Don't tell me that Yun doesn't understand this principle. If Yun Hongwei goes in, Yun Yi will blame you. Does it matter? She's my wife. If her father is innocent, he naturally won't go in. But if he uses unorthodox means and gets in, will this account be blamed on me? What is this? Logic? Are you determined not to take care of it? The law has its own fair place. If we destroy this fairness artificially, it's unfair to the people, isn't it? Ouyang Yan held her forehead. Her dignified and reserved manner was about to be exhausted. The recording pen in her bag was still running. She didn't expect that nothing useful would be recorded. She had always thought that Jiang Zhao didn't guard against her. At least, as long as she didn't mention his marriage and Yun Ye's feelings for her, he still had a special kind of feelings for her. Second brother, someone wants to make a big deal out of this matter. If you help Yun Hongwei, you'll also help me. Ouyang Yan spoke softly. The title, second brother, had always belonged to her. Even when they were intimate lovers, she still called him that. Every time she saw him, she tried to use this title to tell him that they had a past, and a glorious past. Jiang Zhao glanced at the electronic sensor under the table and shook his head. Yun, the innocent will be cleared of this matter. No one can help each other. Go back early. After Ouyang Yan left for a while, Jiang Zhao remained silent. How serious was the situation? That was why the Ouyang Yan tried to record some of his words to threaten him. Who was the one causing trouble recently? He did not know if he would still be in the mood to return to Jiang District to hold the wedding banquet. Jiang Zhao had called Yun Hongwei last night to tell him that Yi Er had woken up. Yun Hongwei had originally planned to visit Yi Er early in the morning. Later, Jiang Zhao called and said that Yi Er was staying in the ward next door today. He would call him when he went over. She received a call from Yun Hongwei, saying that they had arrived at the hospital. Yesterday, she forgot to ask about the ward next door. Jiang Zhao said that it was on the right side. When Yun Hongwei found Yi Er, there were 3 people in the room, Yi Er, Qing Su, and Yun Wu. Yi Er felt that she had lost 2 rounds to Qing Su. The main reason was that she had slept a little longer than Qing Su and her brain had not been trained. Yun Wu saw that Yi Er was a little unconvinced. In front of Qing Su, he did not speak to Yi Er in a doting tone. Instead, he spoke in a light tone like a friend. Then wait until your brain is better before playing. Ching-su shook her head proudly. Eun-woo, why don't we play a few rounds? How about that? Sure, but I'm not skilled. You have to give in to me. Ching-su burst into laughter. Aren't you embarrassed? As a man, you should ask a woman to give in to you. How dare you say that? Aren't you embarrassed? Eun-woo glanced at Yi-er and shrugged at Ching-su, who was smiling. What's the matter? You guys are so fierce, so I can't be fierce. Besides, I've never played before. If you don't give in to me, even if you win, you won't have any face. Yunwa's words were indeed useful to the 17-year-old Ching-su. Fine, let's play. I'll give in to you. Go and create a team. When Eun-woo was playing the game, Yi-er was very close to him. She thought that she could guide him, but she did not expect a man to be so sensitive to games. Perhaps it was not that Eun-woo did not know how to play. Yoon Hongwei knocked on the door and heard the girl inside shout impatiently, "Come in." When he entered the door, he saw that the three of them were engrossed in the game. Eun-woo and Yi-er sat on the same bed. The table was not big, so the two of them were quite close. Yi-er was engrossed in the game and was already kneeling beside Eun-woo. She bent her elbow and did not mind supporting herself on Yunwa's shoulder. This way, she was much higher than Yunwa's head. Eun-woo, why are you so good? Are you trying to avenge me? Ha! Yunwa's mouse and keyboard worked well together. Feeling the beauty relying on him, he was in an exceptionally good mood. He did not mean to step back into her life. It was Jiang Zhao who did not know how to take care of her. It was she who suddenly became close to him, as if they had never left Wudong Street. He really wanted to hurry to the beginning of the summer and get a bicycle. He would ride the bicycle while she would sit behind. They would go and drink tea that cost 10 yuan and could be refilled endlessly. Eun-woo laughed. Yes, I'll take revenge for you. No one can touch you. Eun-woo himself did not notice it. When he said this, he was clearly smiling. Ching-su and Yoon Hongwei, who had just entered, were shocked by the domineering tone in his words. Yi-er did not notice anything strange. She had known Eun-woo for too long. He could transform from a fallen painter to a rich young master. What else could he not say? Yoon Hongwei saw Yi-er leaning on a man's shoulder without any taboo. He coughed. Yi-er looked up. When she saw Yoon Hongwei, she chuckled. Dad, why are you here? I thought it was a nurse. Eun-woo could not stop now. Yi-er wanted him to win, but out of courtesy, he had to greet Yoon Hongwei. He quickly looked up and smiled warmly. Hello, Uncle Yoon. When Yoon Hongwei saw Yunwa's warm and clean smile, he suddenly felt that he was overthinking things. But why was Yi-er treating him like this? It was just like 20 days ago at home. Didn't she know how much Dad missed her? If it weren't for the fact that she needed to rest after she woke up, he would have come over last night. He was also afraid that Jiang Zhao would say that he was worried for nothing. In fact, he was very afraid of putting pressure on Jiang Zhao. Yi-er, come over here. It's not good to bully Eun-woo like this. It's okay, Uncle Yoon. Yi-er just wants to have a good time. She's lost too many times. She's pinned her hopes on me. She's just hoping that I can win one round. She's not bullying me. Eun-woo naturally did not want Yi-er to leave him just because of a few words from Yoon Hongwei. This kind of happiness was practically stolen. However, Ching-su was unhappy. As she operated the mouse and keyboard, she said in an impatient and rebellious tone, Uncle Yoon, don't be so annoying, young man. It's just a game. My dad has never cared about how many rounds I play. Yi-er is already married, so there's no need to be so strict with her. It's not like she's an elementary school student who doesn't have self-control and is afraid of being addicted to the internet, right? We're having fun right now. When Ching-Su said this, she did not even raise her head. However, it immediately made Yun Hongwei feel embarrassed. In the past, he also did not care about Yi-Er. Young people should have some fun. However, Yi-Er was married, and the person she married was not an ordinary man. It was Jiang Zhao, a man with a political background. How could she put her arm around another male friend's shoulder like this? Yi-Er, are you feeling better? Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere? Yun Hongwei had never been able to get angry, especially towards his children. When he said this, he had already walked to Yi-Er's side. He took her hand and squeezed it in the palm of his hand. In the past, he was also there during the day. Other than accompanying Si Jia at home during the weekend, he would also hold her hand like this. However, now her hand was clearly much warmer. Without the cold liquid, it was indeed much better. Yi-Er knelt a little straighter. She turned around and hugged Yun Hongwei's neck. Dad, I'm much better. Don't worry. Don't keep thinking about me all the time. Didn't I just sleep for a few days? In Yi-Er's own consciousness, she did not sleep for long. It was just that something happened before she went to sleep. When she woke up, her husband was by her side. The next day, her father came over. Eunwoo felt the pressure on his shoulders suddenly disappear. His heart suddenly felt empty, and all his thoughts were gone. Yun Hongwei saw Yi-Er hugging him, so he quickly carried Yi-Er up to prevent her from continuing to get close to Eunwoo. Yi-Er's hearty laughter filled the room. Ching-Su turned her head and happened to see the warm interaction between the father and daughter. Her eyebrows suddenly straightened and darkened. The layout and decoration of the house were the same as Yi-Er's ward. Yun Hongwei carried Yi-Er to the table by the window and asked her some trivial things. Yi-Er told Yun Hongwei about the meat incident yesterday. Yi-Er was very regretful that Eunwoo did not bring her meat today. He brought her a vegetarian chicken. Vegetarian chicken was clearly tofu, but he insisted on calling it vegetarian chicken. However, Yunwoo's clear eyes told her that this was his first time buying takeout. He did not know that vegetarian chicken was tofu and not a real chicken. In fact, Eunwoo had been conflicted about this matter for a long time. A patient who had just started eating could not eat meat. At least, he had to wait until tonight. However, he did not want to disappoint Yi-Er, so he told a white lie. Ching-Su was completely attracted by the interaction between Yi-Er and Yun Hongwei. Yi-Er's smile told everyone that she was happy. The game could not continue. Whether it was Ching-Su or Eunwoo, both of them seemed to have reached a tacit agreement to stop the war and withdraw. Eunwoo was a likable boy, especially when he took off his suit and put on casual clothes. He was clean, elegant, and beautiful. As long as he was willing to smile at you, he could definitely buy you over. Ching-Su felt that with Eunwoo and Yi-Er here, it was much livelier. However, Yun Hongwei was an elder. If he was her father, it would be fine. However, he was Yi-Er's father. If she treated Yun Hongwei like how she treated Min Hongxing, Yi-Er would definitely think that she was uneducated. In fact, she knew everything. In the end, she asked the nurse for 2 sets of poker cards and suggested that the 4 of them play double Q. Eunwoo said that they would draw lots and he would deal the cards. In the end, he and Yi-Er were opponents, while Yun Hongwei and Ching-Su were opponents. As it was too boring to stay in the hospital, they also suggested gambling. Although the stakes were not very high, it could still arouse people's enthusiasm. Eunwoo was always able to control the tides and not let anyone feel bored because they kept losing. Jiang Zhao rushed to the hospital after work. After knocking on the door and entering the room, he saw Yi-Er holding a poker card and angrily reaching out to hit Eunwoo. This kind of play was too intimate. Add Shinwoo $7.99. Chapter 588. Yoon Hongwei smiled knowingly. Be careful when you go downstairs. Although the doctor said that you're fine, you're still under observation. I'll eat and go back slowly. Don't worry about me. Yi-er took out the gloves and scarf that Jiang Zhao had prepared for her from the wardrobe. Okay, Dad, call me when you get home. Okay. Go quickly. Yi-er left the inpatient department and left a voicemail message for Jiang Zhao to ask where he was. Her intuition told her that he had gone to the north of the city. She did not receive a reply, so she walked all the way to the north of the city, hoping that she could wait for a message while walking. She also wanted to deny that he had gone to the north of the city. The private hospital was not in a prime location. It was relatively remote, but the environment was very good. In summer, the trees were lush and cool. In winter, although Yi-er had withered and only branches were left, it still looked very lively under the street lights. In winter, there was often a thick fog at night in Haicheng. One could not see everything around them clearly. They relied on the street lights to connect the sidewalks to guide the pedestrians. After a few text messages, Yi-er quickly took 2 deep breaths. In the thick fog, her breath seemed even clearer and heavier. She covered her ears with her gloved hands and rubbed them. She stomped her feet on the spot and took out her phone. She saw the name, My Husband, on the envelope. He changed it himself, right? What husband? She quickly took off her gloves. The moment she came out of the warm gloves, she touched the phone screen. It was cold. There were 2 words, seductive charm. Seductive charm. Jiang Zhao had gone to seductive charm. If he wanted to drink, he might as well go to Peerless Beauty. After all, that kind of place was confidential and the environment was good. It was suitable for someone of his status. Oh right, there were many women in seductive charm. Yi-er bit her lip and wanted to slap herself. Yesterday, her nerves had short-circuited and would not be short-circuited forever. She had to beat herself back to her original state in a few hours. What did he mean by being so straightforward with her? Did he tell her not to be nosy, or did he say that she did not have the right to ask? Even if she did not have the right, she had to ask, right? Anyway, he should not have any objections if she pretended to ask casually, right? Anyway, he had always been so arrogant. Even if he went to Ouyang Yan's place, he would still let Ouyang Yan answer the phone. As if there were people around, her slightly flat almond-shaped eyes looked around alertly. Hey, which room are you playing in? I might have an acquaintance there, so I can give you a discount. He coughed to encourage himself and pretended that he had nothing to do. After replying, he looked at the foggy night sky and looked left and right at the cars coming and going, hoping that there would be a taxi with a green light on the roof that flashed the words, empty. He stood at the intersection and reached out to hail a taxi. His hand was a little cold, so he retracted it and rubbed it. He felt that it was all bones. He didn't know if Jiang Zhao would say that he didn't feel anything when he touched it. When he saw a car coming from diagonally opposite, he quickly stretched out his hand and shouted, "Taxi! Taxi!" The taxi turned left and turned around. When it stopped beside Yi-er chuckled in relief. He shrunk his neck, opened the back seat door, and got in. "Master, sorry to trouble you." The driver took countless young people to various bars every day. Okay. The driver asked for Yi-er's opinion. At this time, the roads with fewer people were not congested, but they had to take a detour. The roads that didn't take a detour were now congested. Yi-er said, "If you want to take a detour, then so be it." With cars, he really didn't know if a 5-minute drive would take 50 minutes. When the car arrived outside Charming Club, she received a message from Jiang Zhao. It was a distant message. Thank you, 316. After paying the taxi, Ye felt a little dizzy as soon as he got out of the car. Firstly, he had been hospitalized for a long time and his body had not fully recovered. Secondly, the air conditioner was on in the car, so it was stuffy. She stood at the door and breathed for a while. She let down her ponytail and placed it beside her face. When she lowered her head, her face couldn't be seen clearly. She also adjusted her scarf and pulled it up high, only revealing her eyes. After entering Charming Club, she said to the waiter wearing a golden vest, "I have an appointment, 316. The waiter led Ye through all kinds of people. Ye looked at the men and women who brushed past her and sized her up as if she was a monster. It was winter outside. Inside, she was wearing hot pants, a short skirt, and a camisole. Her outfit was clearly a monster among monsters. Outside the private room 316, the waiter gently knocked on the door and pushed it open to lead Ye in. The private room was not big, and the extravagance of the decoration was not at the same level as that of Peerless Beauty. It was a little more high-end than the mass-produced karaoke. The sofa was black leather, but it was unknown whether it was real leather or PU. Jiang Zhao's suit and sweater when he arrived at the hospital that night had been thrown away somewhere. A woman was sitting next to him. It was Yang Yan. She was talking to Jiang Zhao about something. The weather outside was cold. Yang Yan had probably taken off her jacket. She was wearing an OL houndstooth dress with 9/4 sleeves. It was not a sexy style. In fact, it was very conservative. The length of the dress was above her knees. However, the cut was very close to her body, and it wrapped around her good figure. Ye who had slept for more than 20 days, had lost some weight. The clothes she wore before looked a little empty. Ye thought to herself that she had not had time to dress up after leaving the house in a hurry. She had really made a fool of herself. Jiang Zhao and Yang Yan did not avoid suspicion and lowered their heads to talk. They were very congenial. He felt like an outsider. Jiang Zhao looked up and saw Ye standing at the door. It would have been better if he did not see her. Once he saw her, he was full of anger. He did not even want to see her for a few days. He did not expect her to come. It was just that she asked, and he just answered. She even said that he was looking for someone to give him a discount. Who cared? He did not expect her to come looking for him. He was a little happy. But if she really came, he could not be nice to her. He said to Yang Yan, "Let's stop here today. Come to my office tomorrow." Yang Yan naturally noticed Ye. She caught the flames of anger in Jiang Zhao's eyes. She caught the woman standing at the door clenching her fists tightly but not daring to come forward. She caught a series of her lack of confidence. She was caught off guard and gently kissed Jiang Zhao's face. She laughed softly. "It's just a kiss. Your wife won't be jealous, right?" When Jiang Zhao instinctively wanted to avoid it, he caught a glimpse of Ye suddenly and deliberately turned her head away. She did not even look in his direction. She wanted to pretend that she did not see anything. He let Yang Yan kiss him lightly on his cheek. When Ye turned around and thought about the interaction between her and Xiun Wu, she also gave him a kiss on the cheek. Then, she held Yang Yan's arm in a gentlemanly manner and smiled. "I'll send you off." Yang Yan was overjoyed and could not calm down. She smiled shyly. "Okay." She ignored Ye and walked to a corner of the private room. She took Jiang Zhao's coat and sweater from the wooden clothes rack. She took the sweater and handed it to Jiang Zhao. Ye did not hear Jiang Zhao whisper to Yang Yan, "I'll send you off." Her intuition told her that the two of them felt that she had ruined the atmosphere and wanted to find another place to talk. Look at how intimate they were. They even kissed in front of her. Luckily, she had always been immune to it. Anyway, a kiss was not a big deal. At most, she would find an opportunity to kiss them back. She would just take it that Jiang Zhao was bitten by a stray dog. Yi Er saw Ouyang Yan's action of taking Jiang Zhao's coat and thought carefully. Something was wrong. If she continued to stand there, it would not be appropriate for her to act like a wife. Hence, she raised her head and puffed out her chest. Jiang Zhao's sweater to work was a cowl collar. Yi Er was taller than Ouyang Yan. She took the sweater from Jiang Zhao's hand and put it on Jiang Zhao's head. Jiang Zhao and Ouyang Yan were both stunned. Jiang Zhao thought to himself, what is she doing? Why is she still looking for him? Isn't she eager for him to leave? She came looking for him after he left. She even helped him put on his clothes. Humph. Who cares? Yi Er adjusted Jiang Zhao's collar so that it looked more melon. She then pulled the hem of his shirt and said gently, hubby, I know someone at Seductive Charm. I'll give her a call later and ask her to give us a discount. The money we save can be used to pay for the utility bills. Although we don't lack that money, there's a lot of accumulated water. My dad said that we have to be careful with our spending in a marriage. I don't think we should be disdainful of household expenses like the utility bills. Jiang Zhao almost burst out laughing, but Yi Er didn't find it funny. Laugh? What's there to laugh about? You can't even cry. She didn't even look at Ouyang Yan. She just thought that there was a table beside her and her husband's clothes were on that table. She was just familiar with the position of the table and casually took it. Take it. Forget it, she couldn't take it. There was double-sided tape on the table. She could only pull hard and pull her husband's suit off the table with double-sided tape. She pinched her shoulders and shook them gently. She chanted in her heart, shake off the moldy air, shake off the seductive air, shake off the coquettish air, shake off the Ouyang Yan. Then, she unfolded the collar of the suit and let Jiang Zhao put his hands into the sleeves of the suit. Jiang Zhao's mind was still thinking about those things. After he left, how long did Xi Yunwu stay? It shouldn't have been long. It wasn't too late now. The important thing was, what happened during the day? Other than playing cards. What else did they play? Look at how intimate the two of them were. It was as if they grew up naked together. They didn't even think about their own identities. Jiang Zhao's arms refused to unfold. He refused to cooperate with Yi Er's solicitude. He glared at her and said, Yi Er, what are you doing here? Are you crazy? Yi Er's originally bright and guilty smile crumbled under Jiang Zhao's cold interrogative tone. She was so embarrassed that she couldn't laugh. It was still okay in the past. Jiang Zhao didn't throw a tantrum in front of the Ouyang Yan. Her position as the official wife was still intact. Now, the master was giving the official wife a hard time in front of the concubine. Wouldn't the concubine become arrogant? Wouldn't she ride on top of her head? As expected, Ouyang Yan's extremely gentle smile was exceptionally vicious in Yi Er's eyes. She smiled and said, Second brother, Yi Er is worried about you. She's probably afraid that you'll drink too much outside and affect your health. We didn't drink much today. We're just chatting. Why don't you explain to Yi Er? Jiang Zhao sneered in his heart. Forget it. She was worried about him. She was just worried that he would die or be demoted. He was no longer useful to her. Explain. Why did she need an explanation? As she thought about this, she felt even worse after being analyzed by herself. It was fine if she didn't think about it. The more she thought about it, the more she cared. How did she live when she didn't care about him in the past? She had already forgotten that feeling. She missed it too much. Yi Er also knew that Ouyang Yan's seemingly gentle exterior was burning with determination to fight with her. However, Ouyang Yan was a much more experienced woman. She said good things in front of Jiang Zhao to show her grace and magnanimity. Ouyang Yan had told her this before, so it wasn't strange. She was just experiencing it now. Attention, Xinwu 799. Chapter 589. Look, she was such a considerate, gentle and kind mistress. If she was late, her position with Ouyang Yan might have been swapped. Jiang Zhao might have married Ouyang Yan, and she would be the one living in the north of the city. But Grandpa Deng had said that a white cat or a black cat was a good cat if it caught mice. Although there were many problems after the reform, the gears of history would still move forward. Although she and Jiang Zhao had a lot of conflicts after they got married, her father was right. She knew about the ancient sayings between husband and wife. I'm sick. It's not like you don't know that I'm sick. There seems to be something wrong with my brain. I'm mentally deranged. I am crazy. Yi hated that Jiang Zhao did not leave any leeway for her in front of Ouyang Yan. Although she hated Jiang Zhao, now that she remembered those wishes that she did not want to remember, she could only go through fire and water for those wishes. Anyway, even if I become crazy, I am still Mrs. Jiang. I am still not Mayor Jiang's crazy Mrs. Jiang. So what if you have something to say? Yi Er looked at Jiang Zhao when she was talking. Her neck was straightened. She had lost a lot of weight, and her neck was slimmer. She looked weak. But you must not look at her eyes. Her eyes were filled with stubbornness and determination. She was still holding the suit in her hand. She looked like she would not put it down if Jiang Zhao did not wear it. In Yi Er's eyes, it was not about wearing the suit or not. This was a status that she wanted to fight for. She could not care less about Jiang Zhao's past. She could not care less about how many women he had in the past. She also could not care less about whether she was in his heart or not. What she wanted now was a status. A status that she must have in front of this arrogant love rival. She had acted coquettishly, acted cute, and acted pitiful. She had already told Jiang Zhao that there was something wrong with her brain. She was afraid that she had lost her brain. If Jiang Zhao was not satisfied with her, did not sympathize with her, and did not pity her, she would never be able to hold her head up high in front of Ouyang Yan. If he couldn't raise his head, it meant that he probably wouldn't have the chance to go to the apartment in the north of the city to snatch her away. Ouyang Yan said that Jiang Zhao didn't drink. They were just chatting and having fun. Jiang Zhao drank a lot at the beginning. He was obviously in a bad mood. The waiter had already cleared the table once, so no one could tell how much he had drunk. They were just chatting, but they were talking about the relationship between Yun Hongwei and the family Ouyang. Ouyang Yan was afraid that the family Ouyang would be implicated because of Yun Hongwei, so he insisted on asking Jiang Zhao out. Jiang Zhao made it clear that he should put away the recording. Ouyang Yan knew that he had exposed himself during the day. He repeatedly promised that he would not play any tricks. Only then did Jiang Zhao come out to meet with Ouyang Yan. They were just chatting. Jiang Zhao thought it was normal, but Yi Er thought it was ambiguous. This was the Ouyang Yan's ability. He said that just to show Jiang Zhao how good he was at being a peacemaker. In front of Yi Er, he acted as if he and Jiang Zhao were very close. Yi Er felt that when facing the Ouyang Yan, she had to be stubborn and not turn back. What restraint, what generosity, what rationality, all of it was useless. She could not compare to the Ouyang Yan in any of these things. She could only learn from Xia Qian. She was confused about everything. Everyone thought that there was something wrong with her IQ, but she was still able to live her own life smoothly. She could not compare to the Ouyang Yan in these things, but her skin was thicker than the Ouyang Yan's. She could throw away her integrity. These were things that the Ouyang Yan could not bear to throw away, at least for now. Even if the Ouyang Yan was scheming, he valued his image very much. She, Yunyi, had nothing to do with it. Things like moral integrity had been completely shattered after pestering Jiang Zhao along the way. Therefore, she could do shameless things, and she could do it. Moreover, her age allowed her to do some shameless things. At this age, it was easy for others to forgive her if she did something stupid. She might even be called cute. At worst, she would be called childish. But if the same thing happened to a 27-year-old woman, people would call her brainless. It's so hot. How do you wear it? Don't you know that there's air conditioning in the private room? Jiang Zhao's voice was slightly cold. This suit, he felt that it was not right to wear it, but it was also not right to not wear it. He had used such a heavy tone to yell at her, but she still insisted that he wear it. She was as stubborn as a bull, and even said that she was mentally ill. He also felt that she was mentally ill, but she was not completely stupid. Thinking about her car accident, he felt very guilty. But he had already said it. How could he take it back? A man who did not keep his words, was he still a man? How could he work? What kind of career could he have? Yi Er felt that she should stop. Jiang Zhao had already given her a way out. The reason why he did not wear it was because the room was too hot. It had nothing to do with anything else. She could not continue arguing. Otherwise, who knew what the Ouyang Yan would do? He folded the suit and put it on his arm. Yi Er was originally standing opposite Jiang Zhao, and the Ouyang Yan was standing on Jiang Zhao's left. At this time, Yi Er squeezed to the left of Jiang Zhao and pushed the Ouyang Yan back. She reached out and held Jiang Zhao's arm. "Hubby, have you eaten dinner?" Jiang Zhao did not push Yi Er away, nor did he care about the Ouyang Yan who had been squeezed behind Yi Er. He sneered coldly and said with a hidden meaning, "Yunyi, are you stupid?" She still knew to ask if he had eaten. At that time, he went to the hospital. It was lunchtime. He left the hospital with a stomach full of anger. How could he eat? Later, the Ouyang Yan asked him to come here and drank a stomach full of wine. Yi Er was glad that Jiang Zhao was willing to pay attention to her. She could take the sarcasm. She felt that it was much better than the cold and fierce words just now. She shrugged and said casually, "Actually, it's hard to say. I'm sometimes stupid, and sometimes not. It's completely automatic. It changes according to the temperature. It's not under my control." Jiang Zhao smacked his lips. "Oh, so you're saying that you don't usually use your brain to control your behavior? Isn't the category of stupid and not stupid controlled by the central brain? Your body. Are you saying that you usually use your body to control the question of whether you're stupid or not?" Yi Er felt that she had been tricked by herself. The reason was that her knowledge was limited. She shouldn't have brought up such a topic that had a lot of variation between words. If she continued to talk about any of the branches, she would be dead. She was obviously no match for Jiang Zhao. "You can't say it like that, then what do you mean? Or are you trying to tell me that you don't have a brain at all? That's why when your body controls your body, there will often be situations where the same poles repel each other. That's why you hit the line. That's why you're stupid." Yi Er was confused by this topic that was getting deeper and deeper. It was becoming more and more illogical. Since she had said something wrong, she might as well change it. Who said that I don't have a brain? Jiang Zhao had drunk too much. The more he said, the more he wanted to laugh. Do people with brains use their body to control whether they're stupid or not? You've heard of clumsy people, but have you heard of stupid people? Alright, I have a brain. Whether I'm stupid or not is controlled by my brain. I can completely control it. This is not an automatic, it's a manual. You use your hands to control your brain. Jiang Zhao. Yi felt that she had gone from being dizzy to collapsing. Ouyang Yan bit her lip as she stood between the two of them. She did not know what was the point of this topic. Only a woman with a low IQ would talk about such meaningless topics with a man like Jiang Zhao. The things that she had discussed with Jiang Zhao in the past, a woman like Yunyi would never be able to get a word in. A woman like Yunyi was indeed not fit to stand next to Jiang Zhao. The difference between them was really too big. Jiang Zhao was so anxious that Yi suddenly stomped her foot and bared her teeth. He laughed a few times. Seeing how anxious she was so anxious that her face was flushed red. She must have felt that she had lost a lot of face. That was why she was acting like this. Did she still know how to be thick-skinned? The three of them stood rooted to the ground. At this moment, Yi wanted to change the topic. If she continued talking, she would not be stupid. Her brain would definitely be in a vegetative state by Jiang Zhao. It had completely entered a dormant state and did not need to move at all. She turned around. Zhao has already put on her clothes and is ready to leave. Sister Yen still has an appointment. Are you waiting? We won't disturb you then. Sister Yen, please go ahead. Jiang Zhao suddenly remembered that he wanted to send Ouyang Yan off. He walked around Yi before looking at Ouyang Yan. Yun, put on your clothes. Let's go. Yi did not manage to swallow her saliva. She was so agitated that she started coughing non-stop. Adulterous couple. It was one thing to scold Jiang Zhao and Ouyang Yan for being adulterous in her heart, but she also had to learn from Ouyang Yan, right? She did not care whether they were going to leave or not. Anyway, she had already lost a lot of face today. She just had to pretend that she did not feel embarrassed. How could she really let the adulterous couple leave? She had just woken up not long ago. Although she could jump around and travel thousands of miles in the cold winter to find her husband, it was a little exaggerated, but art came from life. So what if it was thousands of miles? Didn't the ancients also mess up quantifiers when they wrote poems? At most, she was just inheriting a good tradition. Anyway, Jiang Zhao had already said that it was scary for her to be uncultured. It was normal for her not to know how to count. Even though she could climb up the stairs to the third floor without eating, she was still a patient, wasn't she? This was an undeniable fact that no one could deny. It was normal for a patient to be a little confused. It was pardonable for her to pretend that she did not understand the adulterous relationship between the adulterous couple. Hence, Yi held Jiang Zhao even tighter. She leaned her head on his muscular arm, making the two of them look more intimate. She looked at Ouyang Yan and smiled like a virtuous lady. Sister Yen, hurry up and put on your clothes. We're waiting for you. But in her heart, she was scolding. Wait my ass. Hurry up and put on your clothes and go home by yourself. However, she clearly noticed a flash of anger in Ouyang Yan's eyes. Little guy, if you have the ability, don't be angry. Why? Are you blaming me for ruining your good time? Who asked you to ruin my good time? You're right. You ruined my good time, but I'm not allowed to ruin yours. What kind of dream are you having? You must be dreaming. Jiang Zhao did not expect that Yi would also want to go. He was just going to send someone off. Besides, he had already agreed. I'll get the designated driver to send you back to the hospital first. Why are you running around outside? Yi Er held Jiang Zhao's arm and leaned on Jiang Zhao. Her voice was soft and gentle. I've been cooped up in the hospital for more than 20 days. I wanted to come out for some fresh air. It's so suffocating. She complained in her heart. Do you think I want to go out for some fresh air? Little girl, I can't even stand properly. You heartless man, don't you know that your wife hasn't recovered yet? Awesome novel, Hongcha 866. Chapter 590. You really? Jiang Zhao held his forehead. He had to think of a way to get her back to the hospital. Looking at Ouyang Yan, who had already gone to get her coat, Jiang Zhao said, I have something to say to Yan Yan. What are you going to do? I can listen in. I won't disturb you. No, her goal was to disturb them. She had to disturb them. Disturb them to the end. She still didn't know what the two of them had done while she was asleep for more than 20 days. Forget it, forget it. She couldn't think about it. Just thinking about it made her want to go crazy. Just treat it as if she had died during those 20 days. Even if she had died, she couldn't ask a man to be a widow for her, right? But wasn't she alive now? No, this wouldn't do. Couldn't he be a widow for her? Although it wasn't appropriate to use widowhood on a man, wasn't equality between men and women now advocated? She couldn't think about it anymore. The more she thought about it, the more she would be driven to a dead end. Listen in. Jiang Zhao thought to himself that it was precisely because he couldn't let her listen in that he stopped talking when she came in. She had just woken up. She didn't care about him, but she cared about Yun Hongwei. If she was stimulated to the point that something happened to her body, it would be his hard days again. Ouyang Yan put on a camel gray light fur coat and carried a simple black bag in her hand. She was really an elegant young lady from a famous family. Looking at the two of them cuddling together, she smiled, let's go. I've got my things. In the car park, Jiang Zhao pressed the lock on the car. Yi Er immediately let go of his arm and ran forward. Ouyang Yan wanted her image and liked men to help her open the car door. She didn't care. She had hands and feet, so she could open the car door herself. So, as she ran to open the door to the front passenger seat and sat in. She wouldn't give Ouyang Yan the chance to sit next to her husband. Ouyang Yan gritted her teeth. How shameless. The Yun family used to be a rich family. How did they raise such a shameless daughter? Jiang Zhao opened the back door for Ouyang Yan and let her get in. The moment Yi Er touched the chair, she felt as if she was about to collapse. The first floor of Charm Club was a disco with strong music, while the third floor was a private room. Charm Club was a place where young people would spend their money. The decor was more rebellious and trendy, and very few people would take the elevator. Not to mention the fact that it was surrounded, there was no atmosphere. Therefore, when they went to the third floor, a waiter in a golden vest led Yi Er up the stairs. Her body was not in good condition, and the heavy metal music made it difficult for her to breathe. When they reached the third floor, they entered a private room. Charm Color's decoration couldn't be compared to Peerless Beauty's, and the smell inside wasn't as fresh as Peerless Beauty's. The air didn't seem to circulate as well. It was probably because the cost of the oxygen pipeline wasn't on the same level as Peerless Beauty's. Along the way, Yi Er's chest felt stuffy and short of breath. Jiang Zhao got into the car and pulled the door shut. He inserted the key into the keyhole and turned it. While the car was starting and waiting for the car to warm up, Yi Er was already leaning against the seat, seemingly asleep. Seriously. Jiang Zhao rolled his eyes at Yi Er. She was so annoying. He didn't know why she was here. He reached out and touched her forehead. He didn't take off his down jacket because he was afraid that turning on the air conditioner would make her feel too hot. All 4 car windows were rolled down slightly. After Ouyang Yen got into the car, she habitually took off her jacket. She sniffed and felt that the warmth hadn't returned yet. "Second brother, why didn't you turn on the air conditioner?" Jiang Zhao felt that it was about time for the car to warm up, so he stepped on the accelerator. As he steered the steering wheel, he said, "Yunyi is probably sleepy, so let her sleep for a while. I was afraid that she would feel hot if I turned on the air conditioner, so she wore quite a lot of clothes." As he said this, the car drove out of the parking lot and onto the small road leading out of Charm Color's open-air parking lot. When he saw that Yi Er's breathing had become more even, he remembered that she hadn't put on her seatbelt, so he slammed on the brakes. The car wasn't going very fast, but because Ouyang Yan's body leaned forward, her head hit the back of Jiang Zhao's seat. She cried out in pain. As for Yi Er, because her back was leaning against the seat, she didn't feel much pain. "Second brother, how can you drive like this? There's no car in front. Why did you slam on the brakes?" Ouyang Yan was a gentle Ouyang Yan. Even when she was throwing a tantrum and complaining in front of Jiang Zhao, she was still as gentle as ever. It was just that she was a little annoyed. "I forgot to put on Yi Er's seatbelt. She gave me a fright just now. Just thinking about it makes me feel that it was dangerous." When he found her by the river, she was tied behind her back and wedged between the front and back seats. If she had put on a seatbelt, how could she have been so seriously injured? His heart tightened. He unbuckled his seatbelt, turned sideways, and stretched half of his body into the front passenger seat. His arms were long, so when he unbuckled the seatbelt on the front passenger seat, he didn't touch Yi Er. He carefully pulled it over. The seatbelt slid out of the car door frame with a soft whoosh sound. He was afraid of waking Yi Er up, so when he pulled the seatbelt out, it was very long. When the seatbelt was in place, it was still very loose on Yi Er's body. After the seatbelt was in place, Jiang Zhao slowly retracted the seatbelt and tightened it. This way, she wouldn't wake up from her sleep. Ouyang Yan watched Jiang Zhao's careful movements and couldn't help but clench her fists. Her fingernails weren't long, but they could still dig into her palms and pierce into her flesh. His heart ached for Yunyi. Was she worried about the heat when the air conditioner was on? Didn't he see that she had already taken off her coat? "Second brother, aren't you worried that Yi Er will catch a cold if you don't turn on the air conditioner?" Jiang Zhao was stunned. That's right. She slept with her clothes on. What if she caught a cold? Yun Yun, you're really careful and smart. I didn't think of that. As Jiang Zhao answered with a smile, he took off the suit he was wearing. The winter suit was made of high-quality jade, so it should be quite warm. When the suit was draped over Yi Er's body, Ouyang Yan instantly felt irritated. Yunyi was becoming more and more annoying and detestable. Why wasn't she dead? The man who kidnapped Yunyi was simply a piece of trash. Jiang Zhao drove the car with a gap in the car window. Ouyang Yan had already put on her coat. Jiang Zhao felt a little cold, but it didn't matter. From time to time, he reached out to touch Yi Er's face to test her temperature. After a while, he reached out to hold her hand again to test her temperature. Ouyang Yan really wanted to jump out of the car and say that she would take a taxi, but she was still unwilling to give up. Other than being a little older than Yunyi and being a little shorter, how could she not compare to her? Yunyi, this woman, shouldn't be living in this world at all. The Ouyang family was simply at odds with the Ouyang family. It was fine if that old thing Yun Hongwei went to jail himself, but now he wanted to drag his family into the water as well. All of them should be buried alive. The car drove to the apartment in the north of the city. Ouyang Yan got out of the car and slammed the door with a bang. Yi Er was shocked. Jiang Zhao's face immediately darkened and he rolled down the car window. Although his tone wasn't harsh, it was already full of reprimand. Yun Yun, you clearly know that Yun Yi is sleeping. Can't you close the door more gently? At this moment, Yi Er was startled awake. The sound of the car door slamming made her very vigilant. When she opened her eyes, Yang Yan was standing outside Jiang Zhao's car door, looking a little aggrieved. Yi Er immediately sat up straight. We're here. We're here. Why aren't you continuing to sleep? I opened a few gaps in the window for you. It shouldn't be uncomfortable to sleep, right? Jiang Zhao reached out to straighten the suit that had fallen on Yi Er's lap. He pressed her down onto the seat and placed the suit on her body again. The man said in an unpleasant tone, if you want to sleep, why aren't you sleeping properly? Why are you moving around? Yi Er's heart exploded. What was he trying to do? He told her to sleep here while he went upstairs with Yang Yan, who was waiting for him outside the car. This was too much. Yi Er threw Jiang Zhao's suit aside and lost her temper. I'm not sleeping. She didn't care anymore. She couldn't take it anymore. Who could stand such a thing? It was like she was a person who wanted to eat grapes but didn't have the money to buy them. When she finally saw someone buy a bunch of grapes and the person spat out the seeds after eating the grapes, she ran over to pick up the seeds and plant them in her yard. She watered and fertilized the grapes every day, catching insects and building a frame. She waited painstakingly for the grapes to ripen and grow into sweet grapes that were bigger than the grapes outside. Usually, if there were 2 snails that wanted to climb the grape frame, it would be fine. At most, she would just catch them and stomp them to death when she saw them. But King hell, there was such a thing in this world. A grape seed was planted in the ground, but it didn't bear a bunch of grapes. It only bore one. It was big, purple, and tempting. She couldn't bear to eat it. She waited patiently, waiting for the grape to turn purple and black before eating it. In the end, the god of plague who spat out the grape seeds came knocking on her door and insisted that she stole the grape seeds that she spat out. She insisted on plucking the grapes that she planted. Was there still any law? Yun Yi. Why are you quarreling? If you don't want to sleep, then don't sleep. Why are you throwing things? Jiang Zhao had a stomach full of anger that he couldn't vent. He was suffering internal injuries from holding it in. And because the Yang Yan was outside, he forced himself to calm down after quarreling. He mustn't lose his temper. It was fine to quarrel a little. What was the point of throwing a tantrum in front of outsiders? Yi Er's heart was filled with grievances, wave after wave. The weather in High City had already dropped to -2 to 3 degrees Celsius. She only drank some soup and thought that he was missing. What else did she want from him? This wasn't the first time she ran out of the house to look for him. Just because she was more attentive than him. Just because she deserved it, right? Some people said that in love, whoever fell in love first would lose. They had also made a bet back then. Why was the loser so pitiful? Why was everything wrong? No wonder no one was willing to lose. He wouldn't lose, and she would never admit defeat. She would never admit how pitiful she was in front of him. Yi Er opened the car door. I want to go up and sit for a while. If they dared to sleep with her in front of her, she would use the kitchen knife to kill this adulterous couple. They were too much. Jiang Zhao was so angry that he wanted to bang on the door. It was such a cold day. The Yang Yan knew to go back. Why did she still want to go to his place? She had been out for so long. She probably hadn't even lost the night's medicine. Now she didn't even want to leave. She was so bored that she became an idiot. Yun Yi. Are you crazy? What are you going up for? Go back to the hospital. I don't want to. I just want to go upstairs and sit for a while. When Yi Er got out of the car, she slammed the car door. Jiang Zhao had no choice. He could only park the car at the marked parking space and get out of the car. Yang Yan didn't want Jiang Zhao to see her angry expression, so she walked faster to chase after Yi Er. Yi Er walked in front like the protagonist. She thought to herself, why can't I walk faster? Why can't I take the lead and walk in front? This house is my husband's. Even if it was a premarital property, after 5 years of marriage, it would be a joint property. She couldn't divorce him. This house would sooner or later become her and her husband's joint property. Come and see, Songshu 566. Chapter 591. Yang Yan's eyes were filled with anger. She almost wanted to kill Yi Er right here and now. It was really troublesome to deal with this kind of woman. She couldn't provoke her no matter what she said. After entering through the glass door, they walked through the waiting area and walked towards the elevator corridor. The environment of the neighborhood was very good. There were many potted plants in every elevator waiting area. It was winter now, so most of the plants were green. However, there were also plants like the fortune tree. The temperature in the waiting area was a few degrees higher than outside. The fortune tree had braids on its stems. There weren't many green Yi Er because the air and sunlight were not as direct as outside. The color was a light yellow. Yi Er walked in front while Yang Yan followed behind. Yi Er wanted to see what Jiang Zhao and Yang Yan were doing behind her. She walked so slowly. When she turned around, she happened to see Yang Yan's murderous eyes. Wow, this woman also has such a gaze. Did the sun rise from the east this morning? Yang Yan didn't expect Yi Er to suddenly turn around. She didn't stop walking. She wasn't as tall as Yi Er, but Yi Er was wearing flat heels today. She was wearing high heels today, so they were about the same height. Therefore, Jiang Zhao, who was still behind her, didn't see Yi Er's last expression clearly. Yang Yan bumped into Yi Er. Actually, she didn't use much force. However, when Yi Er screamed, her voice sounded very surprised and panicked. But behind her was the fortune tree's big pot. Although Yi Er also used some skill to avoid the pain of the fall, she did not calculate the direction of her fall clearly. Bang! Her head crashed into the beautiful night sky in front of her eyes, and the stars were so bright. Jiang Zhao heard Yi Er scream and pushed the door with force. The glass door bounced back after Jiang Zhao left. It bounced back and forth a few times before it stopped. Yi Er lay on the ground, trying to make her moans sound more painful. Wasn't this the effect she wanted? She didn't believe that the two of them would be able to throw her upstairs to have fun. She wouldn't give them such a chance. Rubbing the back of her head, she felt like dying. She just wanted to act, to learn how the mistress in TV dramas would harm the legal wife in front of the man. She was so good at it. If it wasn't a miscarriage, it was a sprain. The male lead would definitely scold the female lead, but she didn't want to act so realistically. Was it because she had bad intentions, so God was punishing her? Because in soap operas, mistresses didn't have a good ending. But God had wronged her. She was the first wife, not a mistress. Her eyes were in so much pain that she wanted to cry. The words that came out of her mouth were extremely unbelievable and quite pitiful. Elder sister Yen, why did you push me? If you don't want me to go upstairs, just say so. Why did you have to push me so fiercely? Yi Er felt that she was saving herself by acting like a mistress in the soap operas. Even her tone and gaze were so similar. A mistress's lovely and pitiful appearance made people sympathize with her. Even if they didn't sympathize with her, they couldn't bear to scold her. She didn't know if it was because her acting was too good or because her body hadn't recovered and was very weak. At this moment, Yi Er's injury looked a little serious. Ouyang Yen was stunned. She didn't expect to be played like this. She looked at Yi Er and felt even more disgusted. She said coldly, "What nonsense are you talking about? When did I push you? You turned around on your own. I didn't hit you hard. You fell back on your own." Ouyang Yen was telling the truth. The truth was that Yi Er wanted to frame her. She wanted to find something annoying to make Jiang Zhao give up and go upstairs. Jiang Zhao wanted to pull Yi Er up and rush her to the hospital. But in the next second, when he saw Yi Er take out the hand behind her head to wipe the tears on her face, he was stunned. Blood was coming out of her head. He couldn't stand the shock of seeing Yi Er injured. He immediately bent down and carried Yi Er from the ground. His eyes were cold and filled with hostility as he stared at Ouyang Yen. The words he said were the harshest words he had ever said to Ouyang Yen. Ouyang Yen. He called her by her name. Jiang Zhao had always called her Yun Yun. Ouyang Yen was stunned. She took half a step back. Her body trembled when he called her Ouyang Yen. Yun Ye's health isn't good. She just wants to go upstairs and sit for a while. She wants to go upstairs and sit for a while. What's wrong with a sick person being willful? Do you have to be like this? Jiang Zhao bit his lips. When facing Ouyang Yen, he would never be able to get angry like he did with Yi Er. For example, when he saw Ouyang Yen, he couldn't even curse. Some people were just like that. When you saw her, you would treat her like a goddess. It was as if you couldn't bear to blaspheme her. Even vulgarities should be insulted from her. Some people were just like Yi Er. When they did something wrong, they couldn't help but scold her. After scolding her, they wanted to dote on her. But Yi Er could throw a tantrum at him. He could control her and be fierce to her. But how could others do the same? Or even push her? She was just in a bad mood after being sick for a while and wanted to throw a tantrum. She just wanted to go upstairs and sit for a while. Perhaps she wanted to go upstairs and look at the plants on the balcony. People who were sick were always fickle. Ouyang Yen was a magnanimous person. How could he push Yi Er just because she was being unreasonable? Yi Er was really feeling a little dizzy. In the beginning, there were still stars spinning in the sky. But now, it was almost dawn. The stars had disappeared and it was getting darker. The surroundings were getting quieter. She leaned into the man's arms and felt very at ease. She wanted to sleep for a while. This apartment is mine to begin with. She doesn't even have the right to go upstairs and sit. Even if you're unhappy, you shouldn't push her. She just woke up yesterday. And even if you're unhappy, she can go upstairs and sit there if she wants. Jiang Zhao didn't want to waste any more time talking to Ouyang Yen. When he carried Yi Er to the glass door, he turned around with his back facing the glass door. In front of him was Ouyang Yen, who was so anxious that she was crying. He used his back to push the door open and said fiercely, "It's good that she's fine. If you cause her to be in a coma for a few more days, I'll tell you. Let me tell you, no matter whether the Ouyang family's affairs are related to Yun Hongwei or not, don't expect me to intervene." When Jiang Zhao finished speaking, he pushed the door open with his back. His long legs were wide. He was running as fast as he could, but he was worried that he would shake her head if he ran too fast. After placing her on the passenger seat, he laid her down flat. At this moment, Yi Er suddenly left Jiang Zhao's arms. Her sense of security disappeared instantly. She was afraid that Jiang Zhao and Ouyang Yen would leave her behind. However, she was very tired and could only call out anxiously, "Hubby, hubby. Jiang Zhao's hand was grabbed. When he heard Yi calling out for him, he quickly bent down and kissed her lips. His other hand caressed her forehead and gently combed her hair back. Be good, be good. Hubby will take you back to the hospital. We're here. I need to drive. Be good if you don't let go, hubby can't drive. We need to hurry to the hospital. Yunyi, be good, Jiang Zhao's coaxing had reached the limit. Be good when Yi heard this familiar voice, although it was dry, it was very warm. Jiang Zhao retracted his hand and patted the back of Yi's hand comfortingly a few times. Then, he helped her fasten her seatbelt. Along the way, Jiang Zhao drove with one hand. From time to time, he would pat Yi's shoulder or hand to tell her that there was always someone by her side and that there was no need to be afraid. When his condition was better, he would hold her hand with one hand and gently massage the web between her thumb and forefinger. Jiang Zhao did not dare to tell Yun Hongwei that Yi had injured her head because the doctor said that the main reason why she fainted was because she was too tired. She had just recovered and should not be too tired. Otherwise, she would not be able to take it. They should open the window more to let in some fresh air and let the patient rest for a few days. Jiang Zhao thought about the environment today and was afraid that none of them were suitable for rest. The doctor said that there was a small wound on the back of the patient's head. It would be fine after 2 stitches. The main problem was that she needed more rest. She could take some supplements now. As for what the doctor said, he could not tell Yun Hongwei anything. Later, when he told him the whole story, he might ask them to get a divorce again. This father-in-law was the best at threatening people. When he threatened someone, he would directly pick the thing that he cared about the most. When the stitches were done, they gave her some anesthetic. A small piece of hair was shaved at the injured area. When the nurse was about to throw it into the trash can, Jiang Zhao said, "Give this to me. Don't throw it away. My family says that long hair should not be thrown outside after it has been cut." Jiang Zhao remembered that Qin Zhen had told him before that if a woman's hair was long, she should go to the hairdresser to have it cut. In the end, she should bring it home and not throw it away. It was inauspicious. He asked her why. She said that there was no reason. In the past, after I got married to your father, I went to cut my hair. Your father was very unhappy. He said that a married couple's hair was cut and thrown outside like this. What kind of woman was she? In the end, they really divorced. Who knew? It was just a superstition. In any case, after Yi got together with him, she had not cut her hair. Occasionally, she would trim the split ends, but it did not grow much. The quality of her hair was not very good. In the past, she had permed and dyed her hair. Especially from the middle to the waist, it was very dry. Only the part from the top to the middle was smooth to the touch. She held her hair in her hand. Half of it was black and the other half was yellow. It was a little curly and did not look good. While the nurse was stitching up Yi, she twirled her long hair around her finger. Ouyang Yan had been waiting in the waiting room outside the elevator. There were humanely arranged chairs in the waiting room. She sat on it and lowered her head. Thinking about what had happened that night, she felt her blood boil. Yunyi was too vicious. She was not even 20 years old. How could she be so arrogant and dare to scheme against her? Not only did she scheme against her, she actually dared to hit herself so hard. Her head was almost broken. Now, what kind of person did she become in front of Jiang Zhao? Narrow-minded. Evil in her heart. He spoke in such a harsh tone. Even back then, when she told him that they had been separated for a few years and wanted to go out and try her luck, he had not been so angry. Welfare, Songshu 566. Chapter 592. Actually, they hadn't really broken up. They had only said that they would be apart for a few years, and he had said that he would wait for her. But now, he would never admit that their relationship was just a temporary separation for a few years. She had left without any hesitation because she believed that he would be faithful to her. If a man like Jiang Zhao had started to be unfaithful, would there still be a reliable man in this world? What did he say? If something happened to Yunyi, he would never interfere in the family Ouyang's matters. How ruthless. Did he think that she, Ouyang Yan, had to rely on him? Did he think that he was so great? Did he think that she had swallowed her pride and looked for him because she wanted him to help her family Ouyang? He thought too highly of himself. She slowly picked up her phone and dialed a number. Her gaze slowly recovered from its daze and became clearer and clearer. There were daggers in her gentleness. When the other party picked up, Ouyang Yan chuckled and said, "Grandpa, are you asleep?" "Hee, yes, I miss you." "Yeah, I want to talk to you about something." Although the sky was already dark, it was winter after all, so it was still early. It wasn't even 10 o'clock yet. After Xia Qian got a car, she deliberately paid more attention to riding a bicycle. She always felt that people who often drove were prone to subhealth problems. As someone who worked in the media, she always knew a lot about this. She was very afraid that she would develop subhealth problems at such a young age, so she would ride a bicycle for an hour every night. She rode the bicycle very fast, which was the only way to train. She threw her sweater jacket into the bicycle basket. She wore a pair of singlet pants, which made it easy for her to ride the bicycle. Riding a bicycle at this time of night had its benefits. There weren't many people riding on the road. As long as it wasn't in the city center or the commercial district, there weren't many pedestrians. Riding a bicycle at this time of night was the best. Otherwise, she would have to go to the riverside very early to ride. On the asphalt road outside the sidewalk, she whooshed through the wind and fog. She was in a positive mood. The trees planted by the roadside were as big as rice cookers. There was a parking line between the trees, and the number of cars parked in the line ranged from 30 to 50,000 to 3 to 5 million. Behind her was a loud fart that shook everyone's ears. A modified motorcycle arrogantly passed by Xia Qian from behind. Although she cursed the person who modified the motorcycle as a lunatic, she had to admit that she was scared by this lunatic. The consequences of being scared were more serious, causing her bike to tilt and fall onto the car next to her. Xia Qian was a media person. She felt that she was promoting positive energy at any time and place, but promotion and yen yield were two different things. She looked at the wheels of the car. On the wheels was the logo of the car. In fact, a car like Bentley was nothing special. It was just that she couldn't afford it. Xia Qian believed that positive energy needed to be promoted. For example, don't be calculative, don't be unforgiving, have a broad mind, have great love in your heart, be kind like water, have a heart of tolerance for the people of the middle and lower class of society, and learn to bemoan the state of the universe and pity the fate of mankind. The owner of the Bentley must be a kind person, so he wouldn't care about the small damage a bicycle caused to his car. Xia Qian took a deep breath and looked around. Then she generously picked up her bicycle and prepared to escape. Hearing the door lock click, Xia Qian quickly got on the bicycle. Before she could take a step, the back of her collar was grabbed by a tall and lanky man. Hey, hey, hey. A gentleman uses his mouth, not his fists. When Xia Qian couldn't pedal, she realized that not only was she grabbed, but the back seat was also grabbed. "Miss, don't you know that you have to pay for broken things?" Xia Qian felt that the voice was familiar. She stretched out a hand that was holding the armrest and scratched her head. Suddenly, an idea flashed through her mind. She immediately turned around and looked at the man who was holding her clothes from the back. Was this guy flirting outside at night? He was dressed like a tyrant in a Korean drama. Was he acting in Winter Love or Love in Blue? But the male lead's eyes weren't so evil, okay? Don't be like this every time. Ha, Mr. Shin, hello. Long time no see. You're getting more and more. Xia Qian desperately tried to think of an adjective to describe him. Handsome. Too old-fashioned, too vulgar. Handsome. Wasn't it about the same? Before she could think of anything, Shinkai loosened his hands and casually patted them a few times. Yeah, it's fate. Why do I run into you everywhere? Shinkai suddenly loosened his grip. Xia Qian had one hand on the steering wheel and the other on her head. She twisted her body backward and stepped on the pedals. Shinkai loosened his grip and the car immediately tilted. Shinkai didn't even have time to pull it and it fell to the ground. Xia Qian thought to herself, good, good. It wasn't embarrassing because she wore thick winter clothes and it didn't hurt. She stood up and fixed the bicycle. Mr. Shin, you're good at kung fu. I can't even handle your shadowless kicks. Shinkai had met Xia Qian a few times and could roughly guess her personality. Is that so? Then I'll try the 18 dragon palms again. Knowing that Xia Qian was referring to his hands as feet, he cooperated and lifted his feet. The shiny leather shoes made Xia Qian's eyes hurt. Fine, Xia Qian admitted defeat. Some people didn't care if you called their hands or feet. They just wanted to make you suffer and didn't care about anything else. Next time, she had to think of a way to make a program. The topic was how to rebuild the self-esteem of young people nowadays. Yi Er woke up after the drip. When she woke up, Jiang Zhao was sleeping beside her. His arm was under her head, his head was leaning against hers and his chin was on her shoulder. Was he back at the hospital? Was it the next day? No, she had to be sure what time it was. Honey, what day is it now? What time is it? Jiang Zhao suddenly opened his eyes and said doubtfully, Honey, are you stupid? It's been less than 2 hours since you came back from the apartment in the north of the city. There are still a few minutes before the drip is finished. Why are you asking about the time? Yi Er was happy. So it was the same day. If she stayed in the hospital for less than 2 hours, it meant that Jiang Zhao didn't go upstairs to the Ouyang Yan apartment. Even if there was no traffic at night, driving to the hospital from there would be no traffic. It would take nearly 50 minutes. Really? Yes, really. Honey, I really like staying in the hospital. Really, really. Yi Er was so excited that she wanted to reach out and hug Jiang Zhao. However, she forgot that there was a needle on the back of her hand to guide the medicine. When she reached out to hug Jiang Zhao, the needle was tilted and it was a tragedy. 3 minutes later, Jiang Zhao was wearing his pajamas and standing in front of the bed. He was looking at the nurse cleaning Yi Er's wound. He suddenly felt that he should go to Hong Kong to look for a fortune teller as soon as possible. He really doesn't want to stay in High City for even a minute. It must be bad luck this year for so many things to happen. The nurse looked at the wound on the back of Yi Er's hand. Yesterday, the mayor's wife had overturned the force stand after vomiting and strained the back of her hand. This time, she did something else and strained the back of her hand again. How can Yi Er admit that she wanted to hug Jiang Zhao? How can she admit it in front of the nurse? After the nurse finished cleaning Yi Er's wound, she kept a pile of used cotton balls, disinfectant, gauze, etc. She reminded Yi Er not to touch the water and to come over tomorrow morning to change the gauze before leaving the room. Yi Er raised her hand and looked at it. She felt that it was nothing serious. It was just a small injury. She lay down again. When she saw that Jiang Zhao was still standing, she opened her arms to him and asked him to hug her. Hubby, let's sleep together. I want to sleep with you. Jiang Zhao lifted the blanket and looked at her. He couldn't help but want to eat her up. Didn't she know that he had not eaten meat for a long time and couldn't resist her temptation? Not to mention, she looked so cute right now. He wasn't immune to her coquettish and cute tricks. Didn't she know that? I don't want to sleep with you. Yi Er heard this. How can she do this? She doesn't want to sleep with him. And her tone was so cold. They slept together last night. Was it because of the Ouyang Yin? Yi Er also lifted the blanket on her bed and got out of bed barefoot. Jiang Zhao was about to stop her, but Yi Er had already jumped onto Jiang Zhao's bed. The size of the bed was not comparable to the bed at home, but it was much bigger than the bed in the public hospital. After Yi Er fell asleep, she patted the empty space beside her hand and smiled sweetly. Honey, come on. Let's sleep. Jiang Zhao shook his head and sighed. She should sleep. Anyway, she took Western medicine and should fall asleep soon. As long as she didn't move, she would be fine. No matter why Yi Er wanted to sleep with Jiang Zhao, her heart was beating wildly. Jiang Zhao's deliberate alienation made her feel extremely insecure. She always wondered if he would do something with the Ouyang Yin. After all, he had lost his temper with her before they got married. She had no right to ask about the things between him and that woman. She had repeatedly promised that she would not interfere in the matters between him and that woman. Yi Er turned Jiang Zhao over and over again. In the end, she decided to turn around and hug him from behind. Her slender hand slid into his pajamas. Her hand was a little cold. When she touched the man's chest, Yi Er felt that he couldn't help but tremble. At this moment, regardless of whether Yi Er's hand was cold or not, Jiang Zhao couldn't stand her carelessly touching him like this. He had already said that he was a man who hadn't eaten meat for more than 20 days. Now, his stomach was rumbling with hunger. Not to mention that this girl could get out of bed now. As long as she was alive, he wouldn't be able to stand it if she ran up to the tip of his nose and circled around him. Yi Er didn't notice at all. Her thoughts were still on the Ouyang Yin. She was worried that Jiang Zhao's soul would be seduced by that woman while she was unconscious. That was why she didn't move when she hugged him. She didn't know that Jiang Zhao was about to explode from holding himself back. Until Yi Er didn't believe it and slid her hand into Jiang Zhao's pants. Beauty novel, Songshu 566. Chapter 593. Jiang Zhao suddenly grabbed her hand. Don't touch me. Did the 2 stitches on the back of this woman's head stop hurting? Or was the anesthetic still working? I'm not touching you. When Yi Er denied it, her face was burning red. She was not touching him. She just wanted to touch him. Then where are you touching? Jiang Zhao's voice was a little hoarse when he asked. He did not dare to turn around to face her. No. Yi Er thought for a while. If it wasn't, then what was it? Since he liked to talk nonsense, she might as well talk nonsense. I just want to see if there's any difference between you and me. I've been sleeping for more than 20 days, and my chest has become thinner. I want to touch and see if that thing of yours has become thinner while I've been sleeping. Jiang Zhao froze for a moment. What? Did she say that he had become thinner? Did she mean that it had become smaller? Didn't she know that men were very mindful of people talking about this? Or had she been led astray by someone? Was she comparing him to someone? Men's bravery in this aspect did not suppress their ambition for their career. When Jiang Zhao turned around and hugged Yi Er, he gently bit her lips. Have you become thinner? At this moment, Yi Er swore to Buddha that she had become super perverted. Female. Because she had become perverted. Heart. Please forgive this woman who had just woken up from her coma yesterday. She had only eaten pork and had never eaten human flesh. She was a little shy, but that was only in response to Jiang Zhao's burning gaze. Actually, in her heart, it was no longer a matter of whether she was shy or not. It was a matter of whether she could take it off or not. The gauze on the left side of her head was a little annoying. She did not know why it needed to be patched. Wasn't it just a small cut? She did not feel anything at all. Since her head did not feel anything, she had to do something that made her feel something, right? Actually, I can't feel whether I've become thinner or not. My hand has become thinner too, so it should feel different from before. When Yi finished speaking, she swallowed hard. This was not her fault. It was really not her fault. She could only blame her chest for becoming thinner. Jiang Zhao's was not thinner. The flesh on her stomach was loose, while Jiang Zhao's abs were still in pieces. This difference only made her more and more uncomfortable. The perverted Jiang Zhao. After touching her, she felt as if there were worms crawling all over her body. They kept crawling and crawling until her whole body was itchy. Jiang Zhao could guarantee that he would not act recklessly when the two of them slept together. As long as she slept, even if they slept until dawn, he would not do anything to her. After all, her body had just recovered, and he could not bear to torture her. However, he could not stand her seducing him. He found that her seducing him was especially useful. As an official, even if he was just a deputy bureau chief, there were still many women throwing themselves at him. Naturally, he knew the pros and cons of this. Some of these women could not be bought off with money. However, when she came to him, he could not control himself and had her in bed in just a few moves. That was why he said that she was a little fox. She should be a little fox spirit. When she was a few years older, she would be a fox spirit. She was born with the ability to seduce men. Perhaps it was because the way they started their relationship was wrong, so he was always worried about her. He was always afraid that she would seduce other men, that she would flirt with other men, and that she would turn around and sexually bribe other men when he was not paying attention. Although they had lived together for so long, he also knew that she was not very open. It was unlikely that she would do those immoral things. However, being too possessive could easily cause a person's mood to change. Trust was not something that could be built overnight. Be good. Yunyi, be good. Sleep well, okay. He coaxed her and also persuaded himself. Now, he hugged her sideways and held her head with his hand. He was thinking that the stitches had just been stitched up. No, no. Young people were sometimes impulsive. Yi felt that at her age, it was inevitable that she would be impulsive when she was with the man she liked. Even if Yi rejected him, or if she gave in half-heartedly, Jiang Zhao could still make the decision to give himself to her. However, she refused. Not only did she refuse, she even snuggled into his arms. Not only did she touch here, she also touched there. She touched everywhere. Not only did she touch everywhere, she even rubbed everywhere, pinched everywhere, and escaped everywhere. Her hands had started to turn cold. At this moment, they were burning hot. Her face was also burning red. He pulled the blanket down a little to expose her face so that she could breathe more air. However, the moment he pulled the blanket away, Yi heaved a huge sigh of relief. She felt like she was about to suffocate to death. She hooked her arms around Jiang Zhao's neck and started to bite him. She bit him anxiously. She was like a vicious wolf. Other people said that men were like wolves in bed. However, Jiang Zhao felt that at this moment, Yi was like a wolf. She was pouncing on him like a wolf. Jiang Zhao was really worried that Yi had just woken up and was so excited that her blood pressure would rise. Would she faint? Although he really wanted to, he still tried to persuade her. Be good, Yunyi. Don't rush. Don't rush, okay. Yi nodded and nodded. Okay, okay, okay. Don't rush. Which man didn't like a woman to take the initiative and be passionate? Jiang Zhao liked it and was worried at the same time. With these conflicted emotions, he slowly took her. During this process, he had to be gentle, he had to be slow, he had to hold her head. Yunyi, do you think you've lost weight? The man moved slowly, hinting at something. Although Jiang Zhao had already turned on the lights to prevent any disturbances, the soundproofing of the hospital ward had never been very good. Even if it was a private hospital, they were afraid of accidents. Yi panted softly, not daring to make too much noise. The two of them looked like they had just run 5 kilometers. They squatted in the corner and whispered. When they spoke, their panting was louder than their voices. No. No. Hubby is still so awesome. Hubby, hey. Jiang Zhao chuckled and kissed Yi's nose, responding to her voice. Mimi has lost weight. Yi was under pressure. She thought of Ouyang Yan's figure. Do you dislike it? Why would I? I like it regardless of whether you've gained weight or lost weight. I like Yunye's Mimi the most. Hearing the man use the word favorite to describe her, Yi felt like she had reached the clouds in a long time. Xia Qian saw that Shinkai was about to kick at her and immediately took a step back. Mr. Shin, it's so late. Why aren't you resting? She felt that she should find a topic to talk to Shinkai and get closer to him. Last time, he insisted on dragging her to the crematorium. What about this time? This kind of man wasn't easy to bully. He wasn't cute. He wasn't cute at all. Shinkai retracted his leg and shook his head. His expression was filled with pain. I was sleeping in the car when the car was suddenly hit. Blood flowed out of my heart. It was so painful that my heart was twisting. Not to mention that I can't rest today. I probably won't be able to rest well for the next month. This bruise really stimulated my mental state. Xia Qian was stunned. She rubbed her face. Because cycling was a form of exercise, she didn't wear much. When it was hot, she even took off her sweater and wore only a long-sleeved t-shirt. At this time, the cold wind was like a knife cutting at her, causing her to shiver. You want me to compensate you for your mental state? If she guessed correctly, he would say that his mental state was damaged. Shinkai adjusted the collar of his mid-length coat and gave Xia Qian a thumbs up. Xia Qian bared her teeth. Who could teach her how to discuss mental compensation with a man who was the head of the procuratorate? To show that his neck was long. Big collar. Would the head of the procuratorate have the nerve to wear such a cool style? If the head of the procuratorate had any integrity, he would be too embarrassed to drive a car like a Bentley, right? If she asked him to compensate, she would have to have a good discussion with him about social issues related to diligence and integrity. Who's afraid of who? Shinkai noticed that Xia Qian looked at him from top to bottom and then at his car. After looking at it, her eyes rolled like a mouse. Miss Xia, this car isn't mine. It's my mother's. So, I think you need to pay for it. I'll let her know. Xia Qian felt as if she had been struck by lightning. What? Your mother's. Your mother is rich. How could someone who could ask such a stupid question not be Xia Qian? Shinkai smiled in a very gentlemanly and self-deprecating manner. My mother is just a softie. My father gave her this car. In her heart, Xia Qian rolled her eyes that were begging for reconciliation. She glared at Shinkai. She felt that this grandson was just pretending. He was obviously from a rich family. Why did he have to explain it like this? Was he afraid that others wouldn't know that his family was rich? However, Xia Qian's eyes were still begging for reconciliation. Even the smile on her face was like the sunlight without fog during the day. Mr. Shen, it's so late. Since you haven't rested yet, why don't we have supper together? I'll treat you. People equals money could be spent from Xia Qian's bag, and it was for a person she didn't like. There was only one reason, and that was that she wanted to save more money. Shen Kai reached out and touched his chin. His evil handsome eyebrows raised slightly. Yo, he said and looked at Xia Qian. She had already taken off her sweater from the front of the basket, not caring that there was a man standing in front of her. She began to put it on. Beauty novel, Xinwu 799. Chapter 594. When she poked her head out of the sweater, it was still red and her hair was a little wet. It looked like her hair was not as thick as before. She adjusted her casual sweater with a drawstring and a hat. So, I'll treat you to supper. Anyway, he did not want to talk about the compensation. Xia Qian felt that she was pretty unlucky. Her second-hand car had crashed into Qin Fian's car, causing Yi Er's forehead to bleed and Jiang Zhao to almost tear her apart. However, she had bought this bicycle brand new and had ridden it for a few years. Today, she had crashed into Shen Kai's car again. Both times, she had crashed into luxury cars. That time, Qin Fian's car had escaped compensation because of Jiang Zhao's words. This time, she did not have any helpers by her side. What should she do? It looked like Shen Kai was not willing to accept a settlement. Shen Kai raised his devilishly handsome eyebrows again. He turned around and looked at the spot where the back door of the car had been hit. He frowned. This frown made Xia Qian extremely uneasy. Frown. Was he really going to ask his mother to come out and extort her? Although her sister was quite rich, she could not ask her to solve every problem. She was still dreaming of becoming an independent woman like her elder sister every day. Shen Kai laughed. You want to eat to pay off your debt? But I don't think it's worth it. Eating to pay off her debt. This was indeed Xia Qian's truest thought. Wasn't it just a meal in exchange for a scratch? Who didn't know that a piece of paint on a high-end car cost a white-collar worker a month or even a few months' salary? Moreover, she was not a white-collar worker. She was not even considered a gray-collar worker. Mr. Shen, look at you. What you're saying is so vulgar. Can't we talk about something more meaningful? For example, we can have a drink, make friends, and have a chat. Shen Kai could not help but laugh. But I don't like to talk about ordinary things. I like to talk about life with women. Do you? Shen Kai said the word life ambiguously. Xia Qian, the idiot, did not understand the deeper meaning of the words life. Regardless of whether he was born from a dog or a pig, as long as he could repay his debt with food, it was all good. Of course I know how to chat. I also especially like to chat about life. I feel that it is especially meaningful to chat about life. Young people nowadays are impetuous and impatient. How many of them understand the true meaning of life? One look and I can tell that Mr. Shen is a particularly profound person. Even his conversation is so profound. Shen Kai looked at Xia Qian's serious expression as she agreed to talk about this kind of life with him. He felt that it was too interesting. High City's Media College was known as the biggest college for mistresses. There was actually a girl like Xia Qian. I want to eat something good, Shen Kai said. Sure, but let's make things clear. Today's my treat. Don't act like you're going to fight to pay the bill. Xia Qian touched her trouser pocket. There were more than 70 yuan inside. She had originally planned to go back to the supermarket to buy some detergent, toothpaste, and soap, but it seemed that she was going to be extorted today. She looked at Shinkai and said very generously, "Let's go to Qionglu. It's on the same level as Haiyulu. There are too many colleagues in Haiyulu. If I take you there for a meal, they will say behind my back that I'm flirting with handsome guys again. It won't be good." Shinkai chuckled. "Sure, leave your lousy car aside. Let's go to Qionglu." Xia Qian sat in the Bentley and patted the cushion on the table. She said to Shinkai, who was driving, "Mr. Shin, your mother has such good taste and good taste. The seats in this car are really comfortable. It's very suitable for a woman of your mother's age. When a woman has back pain for a few days, she won't have menstrual cramps anymore." Xia Qian originally wanted to say something good about the owner of the Bentley. If he did not lose money, he would have a higher chance of winning. Who knew that this flattery would hit the nail on the head? The model, color, and configuration of this car were all chosen by Shinkai himself. The corner of Shinkai's mouth twitched. Xia Qian said that this car was suitable for his mother's taste and taste. Was she trying to say that he was a friend of women? Yi Er felt the back of her head hurt more and more. It was a pain in the flesh, not a headache. Jiang Zhao knew that it must be because the anesthetic had not worn off. Now, it was great. The two of them had just showered and were about to go to bed when her head started to hurt again. He didn't even know if she had strained her scalp when she was excited just now. Was the thread pulled open? Her eyes were filled with tears from the headache. He also had a headache. It was really too torturous. He was too embarrassed to go to the nurse. If the wound was pulled open and they asked about it, he couldn't possibly say that he had just had a fierce battle and then pulled open the wound, right? He couldn't say it out loud. It was better for him to take a look first. "Let me take a look." Jiang Zhao sat up and turned Yi Er over. He then brushed her hair aside and gently pulled open the gauze at the back of her head. "It's not torn. It's fine. The anesthetic has probably worn off. Do you want another shot of anesthetic? It won't hurt any more after that." "Jiang Zhao, are you uncultured? Even I know that hero Lu Buqing didn't use anesthetic during his surgery because he was afraid that he would become stupid in the future. Why don't you know about it? Or are you just looking at me like I'm stupid?" Yi Er finally bit back at Jiang Zhao. It was really good to be uncultured. Jiang Zhao couldn't be bothered to argue with Yi Er. He was clearly afraid that she would be in pain. If she wanted to be a hero, then let her be. He lay down, hugged his wife, and had a good sleep, at that moment, in the southern home. In Zhou Li's apartment, Yuan Shichang was furious. He threw out the wall lamp and smashed 2 light bulbs. The thin glass shards splashed all over the room. Zhou Li sat on the sofa without saying a word. She slowly brushed her bright nail polish on her fingers. "Yuan Shichang, have you had enough?" Yuan Shichang was very angry at this moment. Looking at the woman's carefree expression, he couldn't help but get angry. "Tell me, when will you bring Si Jia back? Si Jia is also my child. I'm willing to let Yi Er raise him." No matter how Yuan Shichang forced her, she wouldn't ask Yi Er for Si Jia. Now, everyone didn't like her. She wasn't a fool. Anyway, she pursued freedom. She would be happy if she didn't care about her child's happiness. She was still young. At her age, it didn't matter if she had another child. What was so difficult for a woman like her to have a child? "Yours. Si Jia is mine." Yuan Shichang couldn't wait to pick up a stool in the room and throw it at this woman. "I'll tell you, Zhou Li. I'll tell you." Yuan Shichang was very agitated. His words were short and heavy. He kept repeating them over and over again, as if he had made some kind of decision. Jolie, I'll tell you. If you don't want to use the most peaceful method to get Si Jia back, I'll let the whole Haiqing know that Si Jia is my son. If your lowly daughter and filthy ex-husband are angered to death by you, I don't care. When he saw Jolie looking at him in shock, he suddenly felt a sense of coldness. He sneered and added, as long as I ask for a DNA test, I don't believe that you'll be able to live as comfortably as you are now. This was something that Yuan Shichang could only say when he was forced into a corner. He had promised Jolie before that he could have a child, but he couldn't reveal Si Jia's blood relationship. Everyone had to be human. Not only would it be bad for the adults, but it would also be bad for the child. However, she had forced him to do this. He had waited for so long, but she was lazy and didn't have any results at all. She was simply a character who would move whenever he poked her. If he didn't urge her, she would just shop and eat. If he urged her, she would say a few words. As long as the other party was a little tougher, she would immediately come back and say that she would never go again. Don't you dare. Jolie threw the nail polish on the coffee table in front of her and stood up. The small round bottle rolled and rolled onto the large square carpet under the coffee table. The red sticky liquid slowly flowed out from the bottle and bloomed on the beige wool carpet like a poppy flower. Although the nail polish had been spiced, there were still some slight stings. The pungent smell filled the room. Yuan Shichang, you're going back on your words. I'm going back on my words. Take a look at what you've done. I said that I want a son. How long have I given you? You're the one who's worn out my patience. I'm not in the mood to make do with you now. If you want to get lost, then get lost. Whoever wants to raise you can raise you. I only want my son. Otherwise, I'll let your daughter die again. Yuan Shichang roared until his throat was smoking. Jolie rushed in front of Yuan Shichang and raised her hand to give him a slap. Just as she raised her hand, Yuan Shichang caught her and threw her forcefully. Jolie was thrown off balance by this forceful throw. She flipped upside down and fell onto the sofa. Bouncing twice, the bun that she had tied up loosened and scattered. Yuan Shichang, you've gone too far. How dare you push me? Jolie was shocked that Yuan Shichang actually hit her. Whether it was Yun Hongwei or Yuan Shichang, these two cousins of the same generation had never hit her before. Today, not only did they throw things at her place, they even pushed her so forcefully. Not only was she shocked, but she also felt humiliated that her arrogant and willful personality had been trampled on. However, she suddenly recalled what he had said just now and quivered. Say, do you think that Yi Er's accident has something to do with you? You think that she's a hindrance to you? Without her, Yun Hongwei wouldn't have been able to raise Si Jia. Last time, you even asked me to go to the hospital to help her so that she wouldn't give Si Jia to me. Tell me, did you do it? Jolie had always been a woman who only cared about herself. She would live as comfortably as she wanted. Whether it was her feelings or her responsibilities, they couldn't restrain her. She liked to live a carefree life. She always felt that Yuan Shichang loved her and she loved him too. Therefore, she didn't feel guilty about betraying her responsibilities and being together with Yuan Shichang, who had no status or status. However, the children were her flesh and blood. Even if she didn't care much about them, she still had feelings for them. Yi Er was her first child. She didn't love Yun Hongwei. When she was pregnant with Yi Er, she wasn't happy either. She was also unwilling to give birth to him. When Yi Er was born, he didn't have the figure that he had now. He was so skinny that his skin was wrinkled. Because of the yellow fever, he was yellow and dark. He was so ugly that she didn't like him even more. After he was born, she didn't want to look at him at all. However, Yun Hongwei treated him like a treasure. She naturally knew Yun Hongwei's feelings for her. Anyone could understand that he loved her. Before she gave birth to the child, he already said that he didn't care whether the child was a boy or a girl. However, Yun Hongwei had this kind of ability. He raised an ugly child to become more beautiful. When he carried her out for the banquet, she was fair and tender. When she occasionally opened her eyes, her pupils were so bright that they looked like they were painted black. It was said that young children couldn't see things clearly because their eyes were misty. However, Yi Er already knew how to laugh when someone teased her. As Yi Er became more and more beautiful, she liked him more and more. Thinking about it, she felt a little comforted. Even though Yi Er's birth was too unexpected, they were still fated to be mother and daughter. Even if she didn't live with Yi Er in the future and didn't rely on her for old age, she still hoped that she would live a peaceful life. She definitely didn't want her to be kidnapped and meet with bad luck. Awesome novel Hongcha 866. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.